The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Glenn is officially the next head coach of the New York Jets. Joe Benigno joined us to break that down, plus the latest on the Jets search for a new GM. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby.
Number one, we play with maximum effort. There's 3 elements of effort. Got burst, speed, and finish. If I don't see one of those, you're a traitor. Go play for somebody else. Win, lose, or draw. The one thing you're going to say about our defense, using the fight. That's an ass kicker.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Kings of the offseason, baby. This is what we do. At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, live on a Thursday, the day after the Jets have officially named Aaron Glenn their next head coach. We have a lot to talk about with Glenn, some reports coming out about who will potentially be on his coaching staff. And today the Jets will interview 2 more GM candidates, second-round interviews, and there's a report that states they could have a new GM by the end of the day. And joining us right now to talk all things Jets and get his thoughts on Aaron Glenn is our dear friend, the host of the Oh the Pain podcast, Joe Benigno. Joe, happy Aaron Glenn Day to you.
Yeah, how you doing, bro? I'm good. Yeah, I if you asked me 2 weeks ago about this, I wasn't going to be too happy about it. My mind has completely changed. If you were just going to give us, some first-time coordinator from some other team, if it was going to be another Robert Saleh, if it was going to be, Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick or Joe Brady, I would be here going nuts, being completely ticked off. But this has a very different feel to it, and it has a very different feel to it because this is one of our guys here, okay? This guy was a very good Jet, played for 8 years, probably the best corner we had until Darrelle Revis came along. Amazingly enough, he played in 8 years for 5 different head coaches. He's seen the worst with Richie Kotite. He saw the best with Bill Parcells. He played for Herman Edwards on a playoff team in 2001 as well. I remember I was extremely upset when they let him go in the expansion draft to Houston. I was not happy about that. He was a terrific player. And if he's as good a coach as he was a player, we really got something with him. But I think the fact that he was a Jet and a very good Jet, and the fact that he wants to coach this team, I think really changes the dynamic of him just being a first-time guy that coordinator that's never coached a head coach in a league before. So I'm down with it. I'm ready. Let's go. And the facts that I'm hearing that he wants Rodgers back on top of that, that makes me feel even better about it. So I'm, you know what? I'm actually excited about Aaron Glenn. I got to tell you.
So you're more excited about it than I thought you were. And I like Aaron Glenn. This is not even a knock on him. My preference, though, was someone who's been a head coach before. They never interviewed Mike
Flores. I wanted Rex. You know the guys I wanted.
Sure. And look, I'm rooting like hell for Aaron Glenn. We're Jet fans. We're tired of losing. And he's one of us. You love his background. He started in scouting. He really worked his way up. Parcells swears by him. Sean Payton swears by him. Belichick has been on the record swearing by him. Dan Campbell swears by him. So there's a lot to like. It's really going to come down to, what his plans are for quarterback, his coaching staff. Like, these are some of the things that have doomed the other previous first-time coaches for this franchise. And I just hope Aaron Glenn has a real plan and can get this right, because you see it, the fan base is pumped up. The alumni of Jet players that are excited about it is cool to see as well. You really hope this works, like what's happened down in Houston, where DeMeco Ryans goes back to his old team, the Texans, and they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, they also won 8 division titles, and we've won 2 since the merger.
Yeah.
I know the division they're in is terrible, but look, I mean, you hit it. I mean, guys like Ray Mickens, guys like Victor Green, who played with him, I think they want to come back and coach. It looks like Steve Wilkes is going to be the defensive coordinator, who did coach the Cardinals for 1 year, then they screwed him. I think they brought Kingsbury in after that. Thank God we didn't hire him. I feel good about this, bro. I really do. I think we got something with him. He was part of a big turnaround with the Jets. He was part of a big turnaround with the Lions. I didn't like his last game there in Detroit. I mean, the guy, when they had 12 men on the field,
he's ready for the Jets.
That was very Jet-esque, but look, I'm excited about Glenn, and like I said, the dynamic changes because he was a Jet and a good Jet, and he's one of our guys. That changes the feel if it would have been some coordinator coming from some other team.
And I think the fact that he had other options and he has called this his dream job and he's signing up for what this job is and he knows what's coming with it. You got to be a special person to be able to deal with being the Jet head coach. It's not like other jobs. There's an enormous amount of pressure, especially now with this playoff drought, 14 years, 10 years without winning more than 7 games. I mean, it's crazy. So he might be crazy enough to be good at this. I just think it's really going to come down to his coaching staff, and I'm 100% with you, Joe. Aaron Rodgers should be the quarterback next year. Unless someone comes up with a better plan, I don't see where they're finding a better option than Rodgers.
Now, look, if we want to win next year, which we do, and I'm sure Glenn wants to win, and right away. And to me, I got to have a winning season next year. You say make the playoffs, sure, but you get me a 9-8, you get me a 10-7, and we don't get there. I probably wouldn't be happy about it because we didn't get there, but it certainly beats what we've seen now, like you said, since the 2015 season. I mean, 5 straight years of more than 10 losses. It's time, bro. It's time for this team to get it together. And like I said, I like this guy. I'm going to tell you right now, all right? And I didn't own one, but I am getting myself before the season. I'm getting an Aaron Glenn number 31 jersey. I'm telling you. I am getting the jersey. Maybe that helps, it helps to calm him. Who knows? Maybe it will. Whenever I go to my first Jet game next year, I'll have the Glenn jersey on. So I'm down. I'm ready. I'm in. Let's go. Let's go get it done.
I'm curious, Joe, because you obviously watched his whole career. It was a little before when I started watching the Jets. Aaron Glenn as a player, what were your thoughts watching it? Was he someone that was one of your favorite Jets? I know you said before Revis he was the best corner you saw, but when he was actually a Jet, how did you feel about him when they drafted him and then watching his career progress during his time?
Well, the one big knock on him, and he talks about this too, so I give him credit for that. He got burned on the spike play by Marino and Mark Ingram. He's the corner that got burned on that, and he talks about that. And that was his rookie year. He was a rookie that year. He does talk about that. But look, he was a very good player for us. He returned kicks as well. I remember him returning a field goal for a touchdown, a missed field goal for a touchdown in a game. I think it was against the Colts. I think we lost that game too, but whatever. He was a good player. He was good. I mean, like I said, when we let him walk to the Texans, I was not happy about that. They let him go in the expansion draft. I didn't understand that, but because he made the Pro Bowl his last year with the Jets too at 0-1. So I like Glenn a lot. Glenn was a very good Jet. He was a very good Jet. No negativity with him.
Yeah, I mean, he started his Jet career 10-38 over his first 3 seasons, and then he saw what it's supposed to look like when you change the culture. Parcells came in, he went through it as a coach with the Lions too. So look, I have my reservations about any first timer, but I do agree it's a little different with a guy who's been here for the worst of the worst and saw it turn around and what it's supposed to look like as both a coach and player. Yeah.
And watch the coach the team. It definitely changes dynamic. If you would have brought, like I said, if you would have brought in like Bobby Slowick, I'd be screaming today. Not again. But this is one of our guys. He's one of our guys, and that makes a very big difference to me. Very big.
Does it concern you, or do you have any a strong opinion one way or another that the Jets a little more unconventional? It has happened. The Niners did this with Kyle Shanahan, for example, but they're hiring the coach first and then pairing him up now with the GM. Your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I think it's more important. The coach is more important. That's to me. I think the coach is more important than a general manager. And the fact that whoever this GM is going to be knows already that Aaron Glenn's going to be the head coach. He's got to figure, okay, I'm coming into this, and I'm going to have to work with this guy, and and find a way to be compatible with him. Otherwise, don't come here. You know what I mean? If you have any reservations along those lines, it's different than when Woody made the mistake of firing Tannenbaum and leaving Rex and bringing Idzik in. It's not the same thing. This is different. It's the first time he's coming in as the GM, and he knows that the coach is in place already. So it's a different kind of deal.
I agree. And I think it's even different when McCagnon lost that power struggle with Adam Gase. He gets fired, and then they bring in, Joe Douglas, because Glenn's basically like the front guy now for the organization. This is like Pete Carroll when he went to the Seahawks, Shanahan now going to the Niners. It just, they're basically telling you Aaron Glenn is going to be like the next great coach, because they're treating him how they were going to treat Vrabel, where he's essentially now going to be able to pick the GM that he's aligned with. And I hope they're right, because I want it to work. But that gives me a little concern. Just, we're putting so much faith in a guy who's never been a head coach before to basically run the show.
Well, Vrabel was never coming here. I mean, to me, that was a setup all the way. He was going to New England the whole time. They had that in the woods, in the works the whole way. So he was never coming here. And there's another guy that's going back to the team he played for. So I'm excited, man. I got to tell you, really, I 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been, but I really warmed up to this, after really sitting down and thinking about it. And I said all along that Glenn would be the only first-time coordinator I would consider because of the pedigree with the team. It's really a much, it feels a lot different than it has in the past when you're bringing in guys that had nothing to do with the Jets.
How do you feel about what his coaching staff could potentially look like? You mentioned Steve Wilkes. My big thing is, if he's going to be a first-time head coach, there's got to be a bunch of guys that have been head coaches before, have a lot of experience. I think Rex was the best at that when he got here. He left Shoddy in place. He left Westhoff in place.
Right.
He had Bill Callahan. He had a really good staff that he hired, and also left some of the guys in place. Your thoughts on what an Aaron Glenn-led coaching staff should look like?
Well, I mean, it should look like. I mean, I don't know. Look, I tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing Josh McCown be the offensive coordinator. Now, I don't know if you could pull him. I don't think he's the offensive coordinator in Minnesota, right? He's the quarterback coach, isn't he?
Correct. There is a report from Schefter saying that he would only leave Minnesota if he were to be a head coach. So I'm not sure if you'd want the OC job for the Jets.
Okay. I mean, he did play for us. He was all right. He was, he's a journeyman quarterback, but he was a stopgap guy, but he was okay. Yep.
Mark Brunell's been a name that's been mentioned. He's the quarterback coach of the Lions. Any thoughts on him?
Who's this?
Mark Brunell.
Another guy played for the Jets.
Yep.
Good quarterback with the Jaguars and all that. Yeah, I would be okay with him. I'd be okay with Brunell. Absolutely would. Yep.
And I don't know if you saw this, but there was a report that came out that Mike Westhoff's name, if he'd be willing to come out of retirement, is someone Aaron Glenn would consider. Maybe it wouldn't be as a full-time coach, but having some sort of role as an advisor to Aaron Glenn. Your thoughts on Westy potentially being involved?
I love Westhoff. I love him. If you want to bring him in as some kind of a consultant, if you want him to be the special teams coach, I'm good with that. Whatever it is, very big fan of Westhoff, no doubt.
We mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Say Aaron Glenn chose to move on, right? What he said is going to be up to the new GM and coach. Would that change your opinion at all on Aaron Glenn if he didn't want Rodgers? Just your thoughts on how that could potentially play out.
No, it wouldn't change my opinion of him. But I think it's a mistake if they don't bring him back. But does it change my opinion of Glenn? No, it doesn't.
I just think it's going to be fascinating if Rodgers either retires or they move on, because it's a tough sell if you're going to say it's Tyrod Taylor and a rookie, or Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis like that. I just don't have a ton of confidence this team is going to make the playoffs if that's the path.
Right. Justin Fields. No, I think Rodgers is coming back. I think Glenn does want him. And I really do. I feel confident he's going to be the quarterback next year. I do.
For what it's worth, Aaron Glenn apparently was a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers. And even when the Jets acquired him, he apparently told Rich Cimini that, he thought he still could play at a high level and was thrilled that he was leaving the division. And if you remember, Rodgers' last game as a Packer was against Glenn's defense when they beat him and knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs.
Right. That's right. No, I think he's coming back. I think Glenn wants him. And I don't buy that, it's up to Woody. I don't think it's up to Woody. I don't care what Woody thinks about Rodgers. I think it all matters of what the coach thinks about him. And he's our best chance to win next year. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Let's be honest about it.
We're talking with Joe Benigno, normally on every Monday after Jet games. And, of course, we had to do a special show with Joe after the Jets announced yesterday that Aaron Glenn is now the head coach. Hit the like button to make sure you subscribe to the
By the
channel.
way, can I say this? One other thing, if you don't mind me, I know you got to jump in and let me just
Go
say
ahead.
this. The only person that I can think that sells more merchandise is our president. I mean, you could. There's everything in the world available with Trump on it, and it's almost the same with you. I mean, everything you can't. There's not one thing that you sell that doesn't have Jake Asman's name on it. I mean, everything.
I mean, John, I got to say,
The only thing where's the bobblehead, bro? No bobblehead.
It's coming. We'll get a Joe B. Jake Asman bobblehead. I'll use the photo of us from your podcast taping back in September when we thought the Jets were going to be good.
I'm in for that, but you should have. You don't want me on it. You want you. It's you're the star, man. I'm just I'm just an over the hill guy, man. I'm just fading into relic land.
You're a humble guy. You're having a great week. I mean, you had the inauguration on Monday, and now you have a head coach. You're feeling good, Joe.
Right, bro. You're dead on about that. Now I got to get Pete Alonso back. We got to get the boy genius there, Stearns, to and Uncle Stevie to get Alonso back in the fold, and then I'll really have it going.
I am shocked that he remains unsigned because I just don't see another team other than the Mets that would pay Alonso anywhere close to what would be like a salvageable contract at this point. I still think it gets done. I know there was stuff about them; they're moving on. I'm not buying it just yet.
We'll see. He better. I'm doing a show. So I'm actually doing my my radio show Saturday from Citi Field. Believe it or not, they're having a fan fest out there. So who knows who's going to be there? You never know. Maybe I see the boy genius. Maybe I get him on the show. Could you imagine me interviewing Stearns? Oh my God. So David, when are you signing Pete? Well, what's the deal with this? I mean, come on, let's go.
Have you met Steve Cohen before yet, Joe? Have you ever interviewed him?
No.
That's the interview I want to hear. You and Uncle Stevie talking.
That would be good. I'll have my Met gear on, so don't worry. I'll be ready to go on Saturday.
I love it. Dan sends in a super chat. Even current Jets want Aaron Glenn or Pumpties here. There's a couple of them that have said they'd want to be on his coaching staff if they asked. I know Wayne Corbett said on his podcast last night with Robbie Sabo, if AG asked him for a role on the team, he'd love to be a part of it.
Yeah. No, it's like I mentioned Mickens. I mentioned Victor Green. I mean, I know. Yeah. No, okay. He was a very popular guy on the team. He was a terrific player for our team. I mean, let's not, if this guy was some, fourth string running back or something that played for us for a week and a half, I wouldn't be looking at it the same way as I am with a guy that was a solid, I mean, let's be honest. Aaron Glenn is close to a Ring of Honor Jet. He's probably not quite there. Although if he turns his team around as a coach, he'll be in a Ring of Honor. I can tell you that.
100%. And they got to start selling those number 31 jerseys.
Oh, they'll be out. I guarantee I go to Mitchell and Ness by next week. They'll be out. I got to get one. And here's the thing too with Glenn. He had the old jersey. Like he started out with the old, the ones the Joe Klecko Boomer Esiason jersey. Mm-hmm. And then he wound up in the Super Bowl jersey. So you can go either way with Glenn.
Speaking of the Super Bowl, Joe Namath yesterday on Twitter, he reacted to the Aaron Glenn hire saying, I'm hoping all Jet fans are as thrilled as my family and I that Aaron Glenn is our new head coach. I wish the season would start next week. I mean, this was probably the only hire they could make, to your point, of any first-timer that would unify the alumni and much of the fan base. You're 100% spot on with that.
No doubt about it. No doubt. And the fact, again, I don't want to belabor the point, but the fact that he was a very good Jet really changes the dynamic of him being a first-time guy.
Super chat here from Snake, who says, I think it's a good hire. Peter Castro says, I want all the current staff out. Is there any coach on the staff you'd be like, okay, they bring him back, I'm fine with it?
I think the only guy would be the special teams guy. I think he probably did a pretty good job over there. I don't blame him for Zerline missing kicks,
Brant Boyer. Yeah. It'd be interesting. And then I wonder if Todd Downing has any chance of surviving this, or it's going to be if you're going to keep Rodgers, maybe you give him one guy that's still here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be what's his name, Hackett.
Yeah.
No.
Big fella says, I'm all in on Glenn. One question I have, though, is does he have the gumption to tell Rodgers if he's hurt that he needs to sit and play Tyrod? Hope so. I do think Aaron Glenn is good. Like Saleh was talking about holding guys accountable, and I never saw it.
Never.
I think Aaron Glenn, actually, as a former player, will have a much better grasp and the ability to do that. At least I hope.
And I think he's going to make a real transformation to Sauce Gardner, too. I think he's the perfect coach now, considering how he played the position, to really get Sauce Gardner back to being where he needs to be.
Sauce was pumped up yesterday about the hire, too. He reshared a thing about it, so he's on board.
Good.
Jazz says, stand-up guy, turn down the Pats interview, firing Mayo. Let's go, Jets. I do like that as well, that he said go screw to the Patriots and their sham search with the Rooney Rule nonsense.
Yep. Well, they again, how they got away with the Rooney Rule, interviewing two guys that they had absolutely no intention of hiring. That rule needs to be amended somehow.
Here's an interesting one from Jay Quest. He jokes, Joe, please don't ask for AG's number. All the love.
I will not do that. Don't worry. I will not. Look, I didn't ask for his number. He gave it to me. I mean, wait a minute. Let's tell the truth here. I never asked for it. I got a phone call. Just to let you know, I sent what happened was, and this was right after we were 7-4 when this happened.
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you, we had just beaten the Bears. I sent Saleh an Ode of Pain T-shirt. This is what I did. And I never felt he would even see it. I didn't even think he was going to see it, to be honest with you. About a week and a half or so later, I get a freaking text from Saleh. I'm like, what? Is this really the coach? And that's how it started. So I did not ask for his phone number. Let me just tell you that right now. So I want people to know that. All right. Let's clear the air about that. He gave it to me on his own. I didn't ask him for it.
I got to ask you about Saleh because it feels like there's a real possibility he might get the Jaguars job. Your thoughts on him potentially be the Jacksonville head coach?
Good for him. I the only thing I'll say about that is that I'm always a little leery about a guy. Look, he's gonna get a second job. I'm always a little leery about a guy going right to his second job after he just left his first job. Now, I know it's a little different because, he only coached 5 games last year, so it's a little different. But usually I'd like to see him go be a coordinator first before he takes that second job. But look, if he gets it, good for him. I got no problem with that.
Well, the irony of him getting that job when, he essentially could have had Trevor Lawrence as his quarterback if the Jets just lost 2 more games the previous year with Gase, and now he might end up getting that quarterback. And we'll see. They have a GM opening now, too. They fired Balky yesterday, which makes absolutely no sense. Imagine they pair up him and Joe Douglas down at Jacksonville.
Oh, hey, you never know.
Oh, my God.
You never know. Look, the only thing I'll say is Trevor Lawrence. Everybody talked about being a generational player. Come on. He's okay. I know he was hurt last year, but I'd rather have Baker Mayfield, to be honest with you. That's me.
I agree with you. Let's see. Here for the memes wants to know, is there any world where you don't want AR back? Like, is there any scenario where you're not on board with Rodgers, or he refuses to take a pay cut, or is not all in on a new system? Is there anything that he can do?
No. I'm on board for Rodgers 100%.
Purple Belt Mike writes in, has G5/AR8, so Wilson and Rodgers or Devontae, reacted to the hire? I'm curious. Well, Rodgers never really posted anything. I haven't seen anything from Wilson or Devontae on this yet. So yeah. I don't know the answer to that, Mike.
Yeah, I have no idea. No.
Peter Castro writes in, man-on-man coverage, blitz. So I was looking into this, Joe. Amen. Sauce Gardner over the last 3 years is the #1 ranked man-to-man cover corner in the NFL. And Glenn, a lot of man coverage, and Wilkes, a lot of man coverage. So I think you're right. Whoever they hire to be the DC, and if it's just Glenn, of course, is the head coach, I think we're going to see Sauce Gardner be the Sauce of the first 2 years next year again.
Yeah, I don't think I think it's a terrific hire for Sauce Gardner. No question about that. No doubt.
Donnie writes,
and I wouldn't even mind seeing him blitz a little bit too, coming off the edge.
Well, remember they did that against the Dolphins, and he knocked Teddy Bridgewater out of the game. I was at that game, and they put a 40 burger on Miami.
They killed him. Yeah.
Yep. Donnie says, Aaron Glenn is head coach, Rex is DC, Mike McCarthy is OC. I don't think Mike McCarthy's taken any OC job, but the Rex stuff is interesting because Glenn wants a former head coach to be on his staff and be his defensive coordinator. If Rex's ego would be willing to do it, I'd be open to it. Can you see Rex being the DC of the Jets?
Yes. Really? I'd be in for that. Look, as long as Rex can understand that he's the defensive coordinator, yeah. Let's go. Bring him in. I'd be certainly happy with that. McCarthy's not coming here. That's not going to happen.
Now,
but I'm down with Rex. I wouldn't be against that at all. Not at all.
Rex and Glenn did overlap for 2 years when Glenn was hired by Tannenbaum to get into scouting. Like, there's a bunch of pictures online of Rex and Glenn on the practice fields when Glenn rejoined the organization in 2012. So maybe, and look, Aaron Glenn coached on the same staff as Rex Ryan's son in Detroit. Seth, who was a wide receivers coach there. So maybe. Yeah, I guess we can't rule that out. Shout out to Matthew, who gifted a membership. Joe, I want you to see the giveaway we're doing here for everyone who gives a membership. I have a signed Garrett Wilson jersey.
Wow, look at that.
Right?
Man. You go right to the top, bro. You don't mess around.
We got the big stuff here. Also, it's arriving in the mail today. I have an autographed trading card by Jets head coach Aaron Glenn.
Oh, look at that. Ooh, I like that.
There you go. And then
that's a nice one, bro. Look at that.
I think you'll love this because he's your guy, and we were at the Hall of Fame ceremony to get together to watch this guy. I have right here, Hall of Famer Joe Klecko autograph on a jersey that we're going to be raffling away as well.
Nice. Very nice. I actually have a Klecko autographed jersey on my wall. You can't see it here, but it's over on the side there. So
love that. Yeah. By the way, seeing the stuff behind you and seeing Sanchez in the playoffs, there's a lot of talk about Mark Sanchez this week because Jaden Daniels is the first rookie quarterback to start a championship game since Mark in 2009.
Yeah. No, Mark, that's after the San Diego win. I was at that game in San Diego. I was delirious after that game.
That was the best show you and Evan ever did in my years listening to you. The show after that game where you guys in the hotel
remember
room.
that? Oh, I
listened
was
live. Yep, the best show ever. Then during your final shows at the Fan before you retired, I remember they played that, and that was like the greatest thing ever. Listening back to that.
Yeah, no, we had a great time. Evan and I had some great moments over the years. We were there for that game. Unfortunately, we were also in Indianapolis for the championship game. Didn't work out too well. We got some good stories about that are not football related, but we won't get into them. But we had some great times together. And I was in Pittsburgh. I didn't go to the Patriot game, in 2009. In 2010. I didn't go to the Patriot game. We were at the 45-3 disaster. Oh my God, we were there for that. I went to the game in Indy. We actually went to the game in Indy when we beat the final game Peyton Manning ever as a Colt. And Nick Folk, of course, hitting the game-winning field goal. By the way, he's the best kicker we ever had, Nick Folk. I wish we had him back. Hitting that game-winning field goal. We actually went there with Boomer on his private plane to freaking Indy for that game. And then we were in Pittsburgh. I was in Pittsburgh with those guys. They went to New England. I didn't go. But, so long time ago, bro. Long time ago.
We're due. And look, you have brought this up. I mean, until Saleh, the previous first-time head coaches that the Jets have hired since, 2000, let's say, Algro, Herm, Mangini, Rex, even Bowles won 10 games. They all either made the playoffs or, in the case of Bowles, had a winning season. So hopefully Aaron Glenn could get back to that trend. That'd be nice. A playoff season would be incredible.
Well, look, we've got three coaches take us to the playoffs in the first year: Herman Edwards, Mangini, and Rex. So why not Aaron Glenn? Why not?
Why not? This one is from Medic, who writes in, I don't understand why people think this is a good hire. First-time head coach again, just because he was a Jet. I mean, that's what people who are anti this hire will say. All the good coaches in the league eventually, at one point, were first-time coaches. Right. So you're hoping that the Jets got it right with a first-time coach.
He could turn out to be a disaster. I mean, that's a possibility. But I just think it feels differently because of the pedigree with the Jets. It feels differently than it would if this was Bobby Slowick or Joe Brady or somebody like that. It just feels differently because of his connection to the team. I mean, there's a different feeling. I'm sorry. And look, I could be wrong. We're going to find out. He could be a disaster. So here's one thing. I think you might have said it already. We are due, Jake. We are due.
You couldn't be more due.
Right. We couldn't be more due. Right.
All right. Some super chats here for Joe. Last chance to get him in as we're talking with Joe about, of course, the news of the day yesterday. Aaron Glenn is now the head coach of the Jets. Jets continuing their GM search today. They're interviewing at least two more guys, if not more. So we'll keep you posted on that should news break. This one is from John, who says, huge fan, Joe. I think Glenn is the perfect coach to have our young stars buy back in and believe they could be successful here with the Jets. Oh, the pain. I think it's a good point by John, Joe, because I forget which reporter said this. It might have been Connor Hughes. Someone with the Jets told him that a big emphasis during this search was trying to restore pride and being a Jet. There's this loser mentality with the organization. And Glenn could say, yeah, I was here when we sucked and when we were really good and had success and made the playoffs a bunch. There is something to that. I do agree with that thought process that was, part of the reason why they hired Glenn.
Well, you look at his career. He had 8 years here. The first, you mentioned it already. I think you said he was 10-38 over the first 3 year with Pete Carroll and then with Kotite. And then over the last 5 years, he was never on a losing team. Every team except for that 1 year with Parcells, his last year when they went 8-8, when Vinny got hurt. Outside of that, the other 4 teams all had winning seasons, and he went to the playoffs twice. So, like I said, he's seen the worst of it, and he's seen the best of it.
Ralphie wants to know, do you think Aaron Glenn will want to duplicate a running back duo like the Lions did with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen?
Well, we actually have 3 because I put this kid Isaiah Davis in there too. I mean, I think I think every time he's on the field, he's terrific. So I think we actually have 3 viable running backs. So yeah, why not? Why not?
Bo writes in Joe we trust. I appreciate your perspective, and Jake's for the matter, because both of you were skeptical about this, but buying in is the only win. I mean, Joe, you've said this for years, and I say it all the time when I'm on this channel or when I'm hosting on the radio. Like, we give opinions, but we're fans, so we want to be wrong if we're not on board with what the team does. Like, we rather be wrong if it means our team is winning than be right and our team sucks, like the Jets have.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, I could be 100% wrong about this guy. Again, it's just a different feel because of who he is. I mean, that it makes all the difference in the world. He's not coming from the 49. We all got fooled by Saleh. I mean, let's be honest.
Yep.
When I watched Robert Saleh as defensive coordinator in San Francisco, wow, I'm like, wow, I like this guy. The Niners were good. He had a top defense. He looked like a fiery guy. And he turned out to be anything but that. He thought he was a real disciplinarian. He turned out to be just too nice of a guy. And I don't get that from Glenn. I mean, I don't look at Glenn as being. I don't think he's an ogre by any means. But I don't get that with him. So I think what he is what he is, and I think the fact that he played makes a big difference. I mean, I really do, and that he played for our team. So we'll see. We hope we're right. Let's, like you said, we're due, bro. We're due.
Did you hear his quote last week when he was asked about being a quote defensive coach and how he doesn't subscribe to that?
No. What did he say?
I'm going to play this for you. I think you're going to like Aaron Glenn even more after this.
I mean, Bill Belichick is a shining example of a defensive coach who won Super Bowls, but typically it's offensive coordinators. They come from the offense who become Super Bowl head-winning coaches.
Yeah.
Why do you think that might be?
Well, I don't know if that's truly accurate. I can just go off the top of my head with Bill Carr, Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick. That's won a ton of Super Bowls as a defensive coach. And here's the one thing that I would say about myself. I'm a coach. I just happen to be on defense. I understand the offense just as well as a number of people. So if you're going to hire me, you're going to hire a coach. You're not going to hire a defensive coach. I'm going to talk to the offense just as much as I'm going to talk to the defense.
Yeah,
that's what you want to hear.
I mean, I like that. Yeah, I like hearing that.
It just Saleh said that, but you never felt it. I'm hoping Glenn is truly all about that.
Yeah.
Dan writes in, any hire is better than Ulbrich. Stop the negativity. This is to everyone out there who's negative. I mean, but that can't be the bar. Yeah, obvious. Jeff Ulbrich is probably the worst coach. He was worse than Gase. I know Gase was the full-time head coach, but you give Adam Gase this team, he wins more games than Jeff Ulbrich did when he took over.
I think that the one thing about Ulbrich, I mean, look, he was put in a very tough position. I don't know what kind of we really don't know what kind of head coach Jeff Ulbrich would be, because he was never put in a position where he was hired to be the head coach from the start. So I think he was put in a tough position to begin with. He obviously turned out to be over his head. He wound up getting the D coordinator job with Atlanta, so he got a job, which is good for him. Maybe it would have been different if he had been hired as the head coach right from the beginning. So I think he was put in a tough situation. So, and I think if he ever gets a shot down the road to be a head coach, I think he certainly will have learned from the Jet experience.
He got a job right away in Atlanta as the DC, so he landed on his feet.
Right.
Now, do you have confidence in ownership to basically stay out of the way and let Aaron Glenn and whoever this new GM is run it their way? Like what he says, he'll let the decision on Rodgers be to the next GM and head coach, which is now Glenn. But like, do you have any faith that because Woody knows Glenn and Glenn's a former player, that maybe Woody's going to learn from what happened this year and just kind of stay out of the way?
I hope so. By the way, Woody was at the inauguration as well. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, he should. I mean, he wants to win. I mean, I don't disagree that Woody wants to win. I mean, I think he definitely does. He hasn't gone about it the right way. he's made some big mistakes. He made the big mistake of firing Tannenbaum when he shouldn't have. He made the big mistake of firing Saleh when he shouldn't have. He should have done it either be after the season or after the year was over this year. So hopefully Woody's learned from his mistakes. And, maybe the big guy has gotten on the phone with him and said, Woody, I didn't put you back. I didn't send you to be my ambassador because you need to straighten out your football team. Let's hope.
I'm surprised you weren't at the inauguration, Joe.
Yeah, I would love to have been there. You know how I feel about the big guy. Let me just say this. I was thrilled watching it on television. It was great. The whole thing was great. So I don't want to get into the political stuff too much. But it really was. It's so refreshing that we got a real president now back in the White House. We'll leave it at that.
I just hope we have a real head coach. That's
next. Maybe that's the forerunner of things to come for us now. Maybe we can only hope. We can only hope.
So I got to explain this comment here because it's very complex. So Nate is paying for me to acknowledge Bob from Vermont's comment in the chat. So Bob used to call you and Evan up all the time.
Okay.
And he's relaying this message to you, Joe. Hi, Joe. You are awesome. Do you remember I called you and Evan a lot on the fan? Jake, can you put up my comment? So Bobby Midnight, a.k.a. Bob from Vermont, huge listener of yours, Joe. He watches my show every day. And Nate is lending the assist to make sure that you see this comment so you could acknowledge Bobby Midnight.
Bob, I honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember everything. I got a pretty good memory, but I don't remember everything. It's funny, so many callers over the years, especially back in the overnight days, which to me was the heyday for me anyway, when it was really the listener. It was the callers and listeners show back then. But unfortunately, and in all due respect, Bob, I do not remember you, but thank you anyway.
There you go, Bobby. Mad Team Parents, last chance to get your comments in for Joe and I to react to. Of course, Joe's joining us to talk about Aaron Glenn as the Jets continue their GM search. There's over 1,000 in here live, so click that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And Joe's podcast, The Oh, the Pain, is available where you get your podcast and on YouTube now, so make sure you guys subscribe to Joe's channel as well. Comment here is, hope Aaron Glenn will teach Sauce how to intercept a pass. I'll tell you what, Joe. So the Jets have been basically posting a bunch of highlights of Aaron Glenn as a player. This guy had a ton of interceptions, man. He was a ball hawk. He was a really, really like smart and just playmaking corner. I hope Sauce could definitely learn a lot from Aaron Glenn.
There's no question. I think it's going to be a major help to Sauce Gardner. And like I said, bro, he until Darrelle Revis came along, he was the best corner we ever had. You asked me to have a Jet all-time team, my cornerbacks would be Revis and Glenn. So
there you go. I mean, and by the way, DJ Reed, for what it's worth, he was pumped up on social about Aaron Glenn. I don't know if he'll be back, but
I don't think he's coming back.
I found that interesting. I mean, DJ Reed's like the same height as Aaron Glenn.
Yeah. Glenn was fast, though, man. He had a lot of speed. He was a high draft. I mean, look, the Jets drafted him. What was it? He 12th pick in the draft out of Texas A&M? Something like that. So he was a good player. I mean, there's no question. He was a top player for us. No doubt.
Did you hear how he got into coaching in the first place, what he was doing beforehand?
No.
So I'll play this for you. I think you'll like this. So he used to own restaurants in Houston, and I went to the place that he owned, and it's phenomenal. Yeah, here's Aaron Glenn. He was on the Pivot podcast a few months ago. He's talking about how he got into coaching in the first place.
Why jump right back into this?
Man, I'm going to tell you guys that I'm going to try to make this a quick story. So, and a lot of people don't even know this about me. Retired in 2008. Man, I owned 8 restaurants from 2008 to 2011. All right, you guys right there called Frenchies in Houston. Yeah, I actually owned 8 of them at one point. And they were doing well. Man, I actually had one in the Texan Stadium. All right, I had one right across the street, right from the Texas. So the players used to always come over and eat. Man, it was like a club on Sundays. All right, it was good and it was doing well. So, man, I'm at home. It's probably 2010. I'm at home and I'm watching SportsCenter or something like that. And man, I am cursing the TV out. I'm watching somebody play and I'm just cursing the TV out. They should have done this. They should have done that. All right, and my wife's sitting there and she was like, AG. I'm like, what? She said, go coach.
Right.
I'm like, wow. What do you mean? She said, listen, it's cool you doing your restaurant thing, right? And you like that, but you love ball. You love ball. And, man, when I tell you a weight was off my shoulders after that, because I was like most guys, coming out, man, I have to be this big-time businessman. I have to sit behind a desk wearing a suit and tie. And, man, that wasn't me. And I'm doing something that I liked, but I didn't love. Right. And I want to make sure if I do something, man, my heart got to be in it. And once she told me that, I jumped right in it, man. And at that point, this is a saying I always say, I didn't stick my toe in the water to see if it was cold. I jumped right on in there. Right, and I scouted, in-house scout with the Jets a couple of years. Then I went on the road. I was driving for hours, right, college scouting. Then I went right to being an assistant DB coach. I did my QC thing because I want to make sure I didn't miss one step. I want to start from the bottom. I told everybody I was there, don't treat me any different than anybody else, right? Because I want to understand everything there is about the scouting process. I want to know everything about being a QC. I want to know everything about being an assistant coach, all right, to a lead DB coach, to a defense coordinator I am right now, right? And I'm hoping to be a head coach at some point. So I didn't want to miss one step, so you can't tell me that I haven't seen it, just like with a player.
I hope he's the guy, Joe.
Yeah, you can't, you got to love it. You got to love it. There's nothing, here's the bottom line, brother. Again, we don't know what he's going to be as a head coach, but there's nothing not to love about Aaron Glenn. We'll leave it at that.
Few minutes left with Joe B. Rapid fire through our last few super chats. Stewie says, if Rodgers retired, who would be your free agent or draft pick?
Well, I don't love anybody. I mean, I know Justin Fields is out there. I think Sam Darnold sealed his fate in Minnesota with the two disasters he had at the end of the year. But I don't think Sam Darnold would be the guy. I don't want him. I'm not crazy about Darnold. I think there's only one way. I mean, I guess Tyrod Taylor. I think there's only one way to go, and that's Rodgers. And as far as drafting a quarterback, I really like the kid out of Syracuse. What's his name? Kyle McCord? Yeah. I think you can get him in the later rounds, second or third round. I think you take a flyer on a guy like that. Maybe the guy from Mississippi, Jackson Dart. I watched him play a lot because I have a relative that goes to Ole Miss, so I kind of watched a lot of Ole Miss football this year. They really choked against Florida at the end. But, I kind of like what I saw from him. I like the kid from Syracuse, though. I think he's got something. And I think you can get him maybe even in the third round. And I would consider him. So I think you got to draft a quarterback. You bring Rodgers back, it's a 1-year deal probably for Rodgers. I don't know how much farther he's going after next year. So I think you have to draft somebody, and that would be the guy. I would take a shot at him.
I don't mind that. For what it's worth, and this has no impact on how I feel about him, I just want to bring this up to get your reaction. Do you know what high school Jackson Dart went to? Which former Jet quarterback he shared the same high school with?
No, I don't, actually.
Zach Wilson.
Oh, my, that's not good.
Bino writes in, Joe B on the overnight in the 90s. Fire. Was that your favorite time in your radio career, Joe, the overnight days?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was on the overnights from 95 to 04. And, I was very happy to get into the middays. I originally do it with my buddy Sid Rosenberg, who, by the way, I'm on with him a lot on his show on WABC. He's got the morning show talking politics. So
was Sid at the inauguration? I feel like he's always everywhere.
Sid was there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if I don't think Sid made it. I don't think he made it into the, into the rotunda for that. But I know he was at one of the balls. I know he was definitely at one of the balls. So, he was definitely down there. Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, the overnight years were, those were the days. I was all by myself down there. You didn't have to deal really with any of the political nonsense, any of the corporate crap. It was a great show. It was the callers' show. It was all about them. And we had a lot of fun. We really did.
The best was you would go to games basically every night and then go in and do a show, right? No,
I was at every Nick and Ranger game. I would go to Met games, a lot of Met games all the time. Whoever was home, I'd go. I'm a Met fan. I would go. I went to a lot of Yankee games. I was into it because remember, to me, when I got that opportunity, I was still relatively young. I was 40, like 42 years old, but I was still relatively young, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, oh my God, I can go to any freaking game I want. I can go see my teams play. Just walk into the press box for nothing and watch my teams. I can go into the locker room. This is unbelievable. So, I went to a lot of games back then. Now now I'm older. I'm not crazy about going to games anymore. You can't go to a Nickel Ranger game. I mean, forget about it. I can't get a credential because they screwed it up with Dolan. I don't want to get into that whole thing. But,
Yeah.
And, you got to take a small mortgage out to go to a Nickel Ranger. I can't
crazy.
even see them right now because Optimum, right, took my Nick and Ranger. They took MSG away. What the hell is going on with that? I can't even watch them play. I'm so ticked off with that. I can't tell you how ticked off I am with Optimum. And I'm in a condo where I can't switch my service. I'm stuck with them. So I'm very upset with Optimum. So, but I used to go to all games, man. It was great. It really was great back then, no doubt about it.
Did you ever struggle? Because you're a diehard fan, and when I go to games as media, a lot of times, I got to go sneak out, go into the crowd somewhere if it's a big game because you can't be a quote fan in the press area, right? You got to just sit there in silence. You ever struggle with that as a diehard?
I got an interesting story for you. Okay, so I used to go in the early days, right, when I was doing I guess I was still in the overnight. I think even in the early days of the midday, I used to go to all the Jet games, and I used to go in the press box. I used to get dressed up. I'd wear a suit, the whole thing, and it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I had to root for my team. I was getting pissed off. I think they actually threw me out of the press box. I didn't, or basically told me don't come back. But so that was it. So I you know what? From that point on, put me in the stands. I got to wear my Jet jerseys. I got to wear my gear. I got to root for my team.
Yep.
So
that's me because I'll go to Knick games or any other team in town as media, and it's fine if it's a regular season game, whatever. Like I can control myself. I've never once, and I could easily get Jet credentials because first off, ESPN New York was the flagship forever until this year, but I never do it because I know I can't control myself. Like there's no way I can sit there and not emote during a Jet game. People ask me, why don't I do a live stream of me watching the games on this YouTube channel? And I go, because I don't want it on the record what comes out of my mouth during these games. Right. I mean, you've seen me. I watched the game with you before. Like, we're insane.
Right. Well, I have no problem on being on the record of what I'm saying, so I don't really give it. But no, I couldn't do it anymore, and I said that's it. I'm just going to be in the stands from now on, and they're really about the only games I go to anymore are Jet games. It's convenient because I live not too far from here. But even if they put the stadium in Queens where it belongs, okay. Because that's where they should be. We have never really had our own stadium. Even Shea Stadium was the Mets stadium and not the Jets. I talk about it all the time. The year after we won the Super Bowl, we played our first 6 games at least 6 games on the road. Remember, that was only a 14-game season too. So we played our first 6 games on the road before we even came home because of the Mets being in the World Series. So
that's crazy.
We've never had our own stadium. So hopefully sometime in my lifetime, I could see another Super Bowl win and I could see my team in our own, Jet Stadium, Leon Hess Stadium, Woody Johnson Stadium, whatever the hell you want to call it.
My 2 things, or I got 2 super chats for you, but I will say this again because I know people from the Jets watch the show. The fact that Joe Benigno is not in the New York Jet fan Hall of Fame with Ira from Staten Island, Fireman Ed, the fact that, Joe, you were not in there is a disgrace. It needs to be rectified immediately.
That'll never happen. They don't like me there. No, they don't like me. I mean, because I tell it like it is. I don't mince any words, and I'm about winning. I think Woody's okay with me. I don't think I have a problem with Woody, and I think the fact that, we're kind of aligned with Don on that, I think that helps. But they don't like me. The PR guy can't stand me. And after the whole disaster with Saleh last year and all of that didn't help, or 2 years ago, whatever. So they never put me in. I'm too outspoken about the team, and that's the bottom line.
You're like Bonds, Clemens, A-Rod. They can't put you in the hall.
Although I'm all in. I would do the steroids if it would help my golf game. I'm in. Whatever. If I start doing a little steroids and I'm getting another 25, 30 yards on the drive, I'm good. Let's do it. Absolutely. And speaking of that, how about Beltran not getting in again? Let's be honest. The only reason Beltran's not in is because of the Houston joke. Right. That's the only reason.
By the way, how's Billy Wagner in?
Oh my God. I went through this with JJ just moments ago. Billy Wagner being in the Hall of Fame is an absolute joke. How did they put this stiff in the Hall of Fame? He he personally cost my team the pennant in 2006. And I've said this again. If you're putting, and I never thought, and I love John Franco as a guy. I never thought John Franco was a Hall of Famer.
He was at the St. John's game last night. I saw him.
Did you? Yeah. How about St. John's? Patino. What? And here's what. Let me just say. I'll get back to Franco. Two of my Italian brethren. How about Patino? He's in the first half for whatever reason. He doesn't have a tie on. He comes out in the second half with the tie on. See, this is what I love about Patino. Well, all these other coaches, Sean Miller's on the sideline wearing his pajamas. You know what I mean? And here's Patino dressed like you should be, like a big-time college head coach or NBA coach. The NBA is a freaking joke with that. Should be dressed. So I love Patino. St. John's, look, right now, what are they, 17-3? They're 8-1 in the league. Great comeback. They were down 16 last night. Yeah. They come back to pull that game out. Tremendous job by them. I think we really got something with St. John's. They're going to be a legitimate playoff team, a tournament team this year. So I'm very excited about Patino. Getting back to Franco, John Franco, if Billy Wagner's a Hall of Famer, John Franco's a Hall of Famer. And I'm going to say this, too, about Franco, okay, because we saw, I believe, you got to look this up, because he's got more saves than Wagner. I think he's got 424. Wagner had 422, okay? I believe John Franco has the most saves of any left-handed relief pitcher in history. You can look that up, but I think that's the case. And if that's the case, and you got this guy Wagner in, how the hell is John Franco not in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it's. I think David Cohn, when you look at his numbers,
he
should get way more consideration.
Look, if you're going to put CC Sabathia in, and I'm not saying CC's not a Hall of Famer, David Cohn's got to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, Andy Pettitte should be in. How's Andy? You putting CC in the Hall of Fame and Andy Pettitte's not in the Hall of Fame?
The HCH admission is going to keep him out.
You know what? At least he admitted it. The guy admitted it that he did it. He admitted he did it, and he did it so he could, so he could get healthy. That's why he did it.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't doing it so he could, enhance himself and, to be a Superman like Barry Bonds. And I love Barry Bonds, by the way. I got him back here. I got a statue of Bonds. Love Bonds, okay?
You love all the guys that stand up to authority. I love that.
You 100%. Any guy that most people can't stand and that they're trying to hose, I love the guy.
Albert Bell. You love Albert Bell.
Love Albert Bell. Where's Albert? Albert's right here somewhere. Where are you, Albert? Here you go. Here's Albert. Albert's right behind me. Anyway, no, you're 100% right about that. Albert Bell, speaking of a guy should be in the Hall of Fame, Albert Bell.
Kurt Schilling, another one?
Oh, well, Kurt's a Don guy. That's why he's not in.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's 100%. Schilling's here down here, too, by the way. I don't want to get up and get him. But I got the bloody sock thing with him, too. But no, I do. But just getting back to the whole thing, Andy Pettitte should be in the Hall of Fame. Andy Pettitte, the guy he won 5 World Series. He's won 19 postseason games, okay? Right? I believe he has more wins than CC. I think he's got 3 or 4 more wins than CC does, right? He won 5 championships. He was on 8 pennant winners because he even was on that Houston team that won the pennant and lost to the White Sox in 2005. Him and Clemens with a 1-2 punch on that team. Yeah. So, I mean, Tommy John should be. How is Tommy John? Tommy John is before your time. Tommy John played for the Yankees, played for the Dodgers, started out with the White Sox. Won 288 games. 288, okay? 3.3 ERA, whatever. And wait a minute. The surgery is named after him. And he's not in the Hall of Fame? Come on. Please. Ron Guidry is another one. I could go on and on. Jerry Kuzman, I could make a case for him. Oh, please.
I mean, it's I personally think Mattingly and Hernandez have a case.
They should go in together. Yeah. And Mattingly and Hernandez, but by the way, I don't have Keith down here because there is none. They haven't made any of Keith. So I really don't have anything of him down here, which I'm upset about. I do have Mattingly down here, by the way.
You have a Donnie Baseball bobblehead?
Oh, yeah. Not a bobblehead. I got like the statue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I got a lot of Yankees. You'd be surprised. I got Babe. I got Gehrig. I got Joe D. I got Mattingly. I got A-Rod because I love A-Rod. I got, even though he's an asshole, I love him. I got Pettitte. I got Bernie Williams. I got Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle, and Yogi Berra, Thurman Munson.
Where's Jeter, the Met killer? You don't have Jeter?
I hate Jeter. No, fuck you. Jeter would never be down here. Jeter will never make it to my basement down here. Never. Can't stand him. Forget about Chipper Jones. Forget about Pat Burrell. Forget about any of these guys. The all-time Met killer is Jeter. I hate Jeter. And he's a phony. He's a big phony.
All right, so this got me thinking because he became a Met killer, but he was a great Met. How do you feel about Daniel Murphy?
Oh, well, I love Daniel Murphy. How can I not? Daniel Murphy got hosed. Daniel Murphy, look, and going into the whole, this goes back to the whole Alonso thing, okay? And this is one of the things. I'm a Met fan since day one. I've been a Met fan since 1962. Probably the second dumbest decision. Third. I won't get into my first marriage. Third dumbest decision I ever made, and the second one was being a Jet fan 3 years later, okay? But I've seen it all with the Mets, and I've watched the Mets get rid of basically every big player we had. We got rid of Tom Seaver. We let Darryl Strawberry walk. Frank Cashin saying he wasn't a $5 million a year ball player back then. What a joke. They let Darryl go, my all-time favorite Jet. They let Ray Knight go the year after he won the MVP in the World Series. They got rid of Kevin Mitchell. What a disaster that was for that stiff McReynolds. And then Mitchell wins the MVP in '89 with the Giants. Please, what a disaster that was, right? You go right down the line. They traded David Cohn away. They traded Rusty Staub away when he was their best player for an over-the-hill Mickey Lolich. And then he went to the Tigers and had like 3 years in a row of 100 RBIs, Staub, whatever. Daniel Murphy leads us to the World Series, has this unbelievable run to the World Series. He get rid of him. Gary Cohen's on the air saying he's net zero. Oh, my God. How much did the organization pay him to say that?
Oh, my God.
They get rid of Murphy. Zach Wheeler. How about him? Zach Wheeler. Now he's the best pitcher in baseball. Everybody talking about DeGrom. Yeah, DeGrom, all he did was ever get hurt. He pitched 6 innings and gets hurt. They let Zach Wheeler go. He pitches like more innings than anybody in baseball. And now he's in my division against my team. So now we're going to let Pete Alonso go too? Oh, my God. Bro, you please.
I got you going today, Joe.
This is a sore subject with Benigno. All right? I cried. Let me just say this. I cried. I'll never forget it. We trade Tom Seaver away in 1977 to Cincinnati. We wanted probably the worst move ever that anybody could ever make, okay? Maybe the only dumber move was what the contract Cleveland gave to Sean Watson, maybe. But whatever, okay? The worst move you could possibly make, right? They trade away the greatest pitcher we ever had, one of the great pitchers of all time, still the greatest player we ever had here, okay? Right? For these 3 stiffs, Pat Zachary, Steve Henderson, and Doug Flynn, okay? Please. And I think there was the other guy? Dan Norman, I think him too. What an absolute disaster, right? And I'll never forget the week, because I used to subscribe to Sports Illustrated back then when it was worth subscribing to. And about the next week, I get the Sports Illustrated, and there's Seaver on the cover in a Reds uniform. And I was like in tears. And then when they let Darryl walk oh my God, the day Darryl signed with the Dodgers, oh my God, I was beside myself that they did that. So whether it was M. Donald Grant, whether it was Frank Cashin, whether it was Fred Wilpon, and now Stevie Cohen's lining himself up right there with it, with Alonso, yeah, I'm tired of it.
I hope they resign.
I want my guys. I want my guys, bro.
All right, 3 quick ones here, Joe. Bo writes in, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'll be watching what Aaron Glenn does with Riddick and Clemens, but more importantly, at the OC spot, those are on my radar. I don't think you have to worry about Hassan Reddick or Michael Clemens. I think they're both going to be cut and gone. I mean, Reddick's a free agent.
Reddick stinks. Get him out of here. Michael Clemens is one of them. Michael Clemens is one of those guys that, built like Tarzan, plays like Jane.
Yep.
That's it.
Is that a Parcells line, by the way? I wonder if Aaron Glenn uses that.
It might have been. I don't know if you could say that now, but what the hell I just did.
Yep.
If you're going to tell me that you're going to let biological males play in women's sports, then I can say what I just said.
Fair. Nate,
although I think the big guy is taking care of that too. Anyway,
this is some Joe V appearance today, folks.
I'm rolling today.
Nate writes in, who spits on the mics the most during your time at WFAN?
Oh my! What kind of question is that? I won't get into. I'm gonna leave that. I probably did a number of times.
Is that in the book, the Joe B book one day on your radio? And
there'll never be a book. There'll never be a book. Never. They'd have to pay me a shitload of money. They'd have to pay me a minimum 6-figure retainer for me to even consider doing a book. Minimum.
It'd be an amazing read, Joe, because your memory is encyclopedic. Like, you could talk about stories growing up in the 60s. Like the story you told on this show about going to the Jets-Chiefs playoff game in 1969 is like the details you remember from that. It's astonishing.
Yeah. No, I'll never forget that game. That was kind of the beginning of the end. And it's like, 55 years ago now. Are you kidding? Oh, that game was, man, I'll tell you. I told you the story. I'm begging my mother, this guy in my class, because the game was blacked out. You couldn't see it in New York, right? This is the days of the blackout. What a joke that was, okay? So I'm begging my mother, I got to see this game. And my team's in the playoffs. I got to see it, right? It was a Saturday afternoon game, too. And my mother came through. There was a guy in my class. I was a junior in high school, and he was selling his tickets. And my mother came. I said, "Look, I don't have to have anything else for Christmas. This is what I want." Bought the tickets. I think they were about $20 a piece. Could you imagine that? Had seats down in the end zone below. It was brutal. He called. Let me tell you, it was brutal, windy, cold, and Namath had a terrible game. 14 for 40 that day. He threw 3 interceptions. They had a first. They were down 6-3. They had a first and goal on the 1-yard line, and they couldn't put it in. They wound up kicking a field goal, right? And this Chief team, by the way, was one of the great defensive teams of all time. They had 6 Hall of Famers on the defense. And then I'll never forget watching the biggest play of the game after they stop us on the goal line. Len Dawson hits the great Otis Taylor, who should be in the Hall of Fame, for about a 50-yard pass right down the middle. And then 2 plays later, I believe it was Gloucester Richardson catches what turned out to be the game-winning touchdown pass. We're down 13-6. We're getting the ball back late in the game, about a minute something to go. We're getting a good field position as they punt to us. And we had this guy, Mike Battle, who had a big punt return for a touchdown in that exhibition game against the Giants. When we played the Giants after we won the Super Bowl and we beat them, it was like a regular season game. We had to win for a preseason game. Killed them 37-14. Battle had an interception return and a touchdown for a touchdown in that game. He fumbles this punt, and Kansas City recovers it, and the game was over. And I'll never forget, man. You talk about being bummed out, but little did I know, this was only the beginning of me being bummed out. Who knew? Like, this was like a good thing. We actually lost the divisional playoff game. What? Come on. So
and then what you got on the subway and then
got in the
tell
subway,
that part.
Right? And I never forget, some guy was drunk and he was on the subway next to us, and he goes, he doesn't remember anything about the game, and he says, "Did we win?" And the guy says, "You don't want to know." I remember the guy was like sober that was with him, like, "You don't want to know." I'll never forget that.
That's why you could write a book, Joe. These stories are it's from 1969. You told it like it happened 2 days ago.
Oh man, I'll never forget that. And then let me tell you this story too. On the same day, I get home that night. It's a Saturday, and I got a phone call at home. Remember, I'm a junior in high school, so my testosterone level is through the roof, and I'm all like, I'm all like bummed out. The Jets just. I get a phone call from this girl who wanted to go out with me, who I wanted no part of, and I remember that night. And I had to be like nice about it. I mean, I didn't want to see this girl, and I didn't. By the way, I just want you to know. So I made a few mistakes like that. Did I ever tell you while we're rolling here, we're telling Benigno's life story here? Almost time. I've been on here for an hour. I got to go to ShopRite in a minute and shopping. But let me just tell you this. So I was a freshman in college, right? And I used to go to this place called the Marshmallow up here in New City, New York, to go. I could still dance. I still, as you know, I still got.
You still got it. Yeah.
Still got Travolta-esque moves. So anyway. So we used to go dancing every Friday and Saturday night. This is in the summer after I was home from college. And this girl, we met her at this place at the Marshmallow. Nice girl, Italian girl, nice, not bad, but not great look. She wasn't great. I really didn't want to, do anything with her. And she has tickets for me to see the Rolling Stones at the Garden. Wait a minute. And this is the heyday. Forget the Rolling Stones now. Everybody's 1,000 years old. Keith and Mick, I don't know how they're still alive. But anyway. This is the heyday. This is like 1972, right?
Wow.
The Stones are at the height of their freaking power, And this girl invites me to go to. She got tickets for the Stones. She wants me to go to the Stone concert with her. And you talk about dumb decisions. I said I didn't go because I wasn't crazy about this girl. And as I look back, 50 plus years ago, whatever the hell it was, it's one of the dumbest decisions I ever made, that I didn't go to that concert and that I didn't, probably have sex with her too. I probably should have done that too, So it was kind of like a double whammy, but anyway, that was,
1972, the Rolling Stones.
I'll never forget that.
That's a legendary concert. I mean, you'd be,
wow. Oh, bro, let me tell you, I so regret, and I've never seen them, right? And I so regret not going to that concert. Oh, my God.
Wow.
I really do.
Unreal. All right. Last one here, Joe.
Yeah.
We'll end it on a sports one from Doug. He says, Joe, who do you want to see win the Super Bowl? I want to see the Chiefs win. Mahomes repeats. Then he's much closer to supplant Brady as the GOAT.
I think the Chiefs are going to beat Buffalo. And I think the Chiefs are going to be the first team in history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. That's my feeling.
I agree. I'm rooting for the NFC, though, whoever comes out.
Yeah. Hey, don't discount Washington. They may have a little, in this game, it's a divisional game. Hurts is a little banged up here. I wouldn't. They got a little magic on the Commanders. I wouldn't be shocked to see them win this game.
You got to start calling them the commies. That's what I call them.
Yeah, they should be the Redskins. Let's be. Don is back in the White House. It's time to be the Redskins and the Indians again. Okay. Now let's tell it like it is. All right.
Joe,
maybe the Red Storm should be the Redmen again. Okay, maybe that too.
Joe, this was an all-timer. I hope the Aaron Glenn era goes as well as this hour-long chat. This was awesome. I miss our Monday chats, and I'm glad that we could get you on here to react to Aaron Glenn. We'll get you on when the Jets start making some moves this offseason. I can't wait.
Jake, as you know, bro, anything for you. Nothing but love. All right, baby? God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Joe Benigno. Subscribe to his podcast, the channel on YouTube. Get it where you get podcasts. Joe's still giving you content multiple times a week, and you can hear him, of course, still on the fan part-time. What a spot with Joe, huh? Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. And more importantly, subscribe to my channel. Jet fans, Joe B fans. We hit over 41,000 earlier in the week. We're going for 42 now, baby. The Glennaissance is here, baby. Aaron Glenn. I hope it works. If you want in on our raffle, now's the time to gift memberships. You'll get a chance to win a signed Garrett Wilson jersey, a signed Aaron Glenn trading card, a signed, I didn't even show Joe this. I'm going to get Joe, by the way, a Glenn jersey for him once I figure out where to get it from parts unknown. So I will work on that for Joe. But I have a signed Breece Hall trading card here with the jersey patch. That's raffle eligible. And the Klecko signed jersey that I did show Joe during the spot. I have it right here. Mike D's Nuts actually won the first Klecko jersey I bought. That should be arriving today, Mike, if you're watching. But it's signed, authenticated by the Jet Hall of Famer. So, with that said, if you get the membership, you're in and you get a chance to be a part of it. Jet Worldwide gifted a membership. Thank you, Snowball. You are in our raffle. YouTube user, I got you down as well. Matthew, we acknowledge you. So we've added 3 raffle entries so far in today's show. I'm going to get your calls coming up. First, I'll read this one from Bill. Joe, why is Jeter a phony? Inauguration was stellar. Joe knows Jeter's great. He's always been a Jeter hater because he's killed the Mets. Big fella. Speaking of Otis Smith, great Jet. He was a great Jet. It's interesting that Joe, who's seen every game the Jets have ever played, felt that before Darrelle Revis, Aaron Glenn was the best corner the Jets have ever had. It's pretty cool. I think Aaron Glenn, he was a phenomenal player, and I keep going back to the fact that, yes, he's a first-timer, but what does give me hope as someone who didn't want a first-timer, right, was simply, that lack of experience. That's why I didn't want it. I didn't think it was a job for first-timers. But to be fair to Glenn, he's not your traditional first-timer when it comes to the Jets because of his ties to the organization, the coaches that he played under and have been mentored by as both a player and a coach, whether it be Parcells, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, Belichick was his DC with the Jets. And there's something to the fact that Aaron Glenn was 10-38 as a Jet player during his first 3 years. And then Parcells shows up, and the Jets from that point on were 500 or better in his last 5 years with the Jets, including the 98 team that won 12 games and went to the championship game. So that makes me excited about Glenn. That said, we don't know. Most of us thought Robert Saleh was the right hire. No one was bashing that one. You never know. Real quick before we get to some calls here, I'm headed back to the Super Bowl, baby. I'm headed down to New Orleans. I want you all to be aware of this because we'll have live coverage from Radio Row the week of the Super Bowl. I'll be down there February 3rd, and we'll be doing our show from the Convention Center every single day. A bunch of great guests are going to join us, and I won't say who just yet, but one current member of the New York Jets is scheduled to join us. Last year, if you guys remember, we had some great guests. C.J. Mosley, Santonio Holmes. I'm just trying to think of the Jet guys. Leger Douzable, Connor Rodgers, Thomas Dimitrov, which, by the way, I'm hoping that if I don't get a chance to talk with him again this year, it's because the Jets hired him, but I haven't heard anything on that. Here's what I do know. Let me just hit on the Jet GM search before we get to your calls. There are reports out there that they could hire a GM by the end of today. There are 2 round 2 interviews being scheduled. The guy on the left is Darren Moogie. I'm hoping I'm saying his name properly. He comes from the Broncos. And the guy on the right is Trey Brown, who comes from the Bengals. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about either of these guys. I only could go off of what people have said, read their bios, all that. Trey Brown, to me, is more of an intriguing candidate. The organizations he's been with, he has a friendship, apparently, according to Rich Cimini, with Aaron Glenn. They know each other well. And I don't know. The name Trey Brown, it just feels right. That's all I got for you. So we'll see. Obviously, the Jets are taking some risk with this GM search because they're hiring a GM after they have the coach. What the Jets are doing is they are making Aaron Glenn the face of their organization. You don't typically see that with first-time coaches. It tells you the reverence they have for Glenn. He's Pete Carroll going to Seattle. He's Kyle Shanahan going to the Niners. Now, Shanahan was never a head coach either, but his dad was. And in the case of Aaron Glenn, he was a player. Parcells is his mentor. They still speak multiple times a month, apparently. So I see what the Jets are doing. I do. You guys know my thoughts. You're always weary of any first-timer. And the Jets are essentially allowing Aaron Glenn to pick who he's working with. And look, part of the reason why they're allowing Glenn to do it is because of the clip I played to Joe just before. Aaron Glenn started off as a scout in personnel. And for those who don't know, my Houston friends tipped me off to this. Aaron Glenn was the GM of the Houston Stallions before he went back to the Jets and became a scout. For those who don't know what the Houston Stallions are, they were an arena football team in Houston. I think that league folded. But, yeah, this guy has a mix of coach and personnel background. That's why Aaron Glenn's so heavily involved here. I just hope it works. You know, he's qualified. You just never know with any first-timer. Purple Belt Mike, does Mark Brunell have the nuts to tell Aaron Rodgers new offense? I don't know. I don't even know if Mark Brunell would be a great play caller. I just know he was an outstanding quarterback at one point. He was basically a player coach to Sanchez when he was on the Jets at the end. And he's been a quarterback coach the last couple of years under Ben Johnson. So he's an intriguing candidate. If I'm picking the OC I want the Jets to hire, I like the idea of either Clint Kubiak, because he's called plays before, and his last name's Kubiak. That helps. Maybe we can get Gary on the staff as an advisor. And Nick Caley. Because Nick Caley is coming from the Rams staff, and he turned down Gerard Mayo a year ago to be the Pats OC. He's the pass game coordinator and tight ends coach for the Rams right now. Typically, you pluck from the McVay tree, it works. So I'm in on that, potentially. All right, comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Thanks again to Joe B, who joined us for an hour. That was a legendary Joe B spot, huh? I mean, I got to just clip up the stories that Joe told. That will make a best of the Jake Asman show. But let's get to your calls, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, first up on the hotline is probably someone who saw that 1969 game that Joe was talking about. Neil starts us off. Hello, Neil.
Joe B fires me up, man. You know, I had the honor of sitting with Joe B at T Squared. For you new guys that, are joining the show, let's hope that we have a great opportunity to do some T Squared this year, to see some winning football. It was not a good day that day. Joe B looked like he was ready to kill himself. And what game was that, Jake?
It was the Patriot game. It was the worst. That was the angriest I was all year.
Christ. I got to tell you, I was so pumped up on that last drive. I had a hockey stick in my hand from the back room where the golf simulators were.
Yeah.
I was going to start swinging that hockey stick when we finally won the game because
they were going to win. Rodgers,
we were going to win. I mean,
drive.
We didn't know Brissett was going to go down and score the winning touchdown. Are you kidding me? That was such a joke. And I mean, I watched in disbelief as he went down the field and pulled the game out. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for us that season. And,
I mean, that was it. I mean, they were probably cooked anyway, but they fell to 2-6 that day and it was done.
And, it set itself up. Joe B was there. It set it up, the camaraderie. I bought him lunch, him, and who was Kenny there too?
The great Kenny Scarabaccio. Kenny from
Yeah,
Staten Island.
I got stuck with like a $300 bill between those two guys. You did a nice thing there, Jake. You set me up with those guys so you didn't have to pay the bill. I got stuck with a $300 bill. Mm-hmm. Joe B didn't even say thank you to me. I was a little pissed off at that. I got to be honest with you.
To be fair to Joe, I don't think he knew you covered. I think Joe just thought
maybe he thought you were covering the bill. But anyway, I had Rob there, my friend.
I'm covering
Rob.
it with this show I provide to you, Neil. We turned you into a star. I've seen Neil at tailgates or my events and listeners coming up to him asking for pictures.
Have to say you turn me into nothing. Half of this chat hates my guts. The reality is these guys, Purple Belt Mike and Philly Noodles. If I hear Philly Noodles go on another show and shit talk Aaron Rodgers again, Philly, get over it, dude. You have no answers who the quarterback is going to be. All you're worried about is the cap hit in 2026. You and PPM. And then you want to control Aaron Rodgers. Can we sit him on the sidelines? Relax, guys. He's our best option. Just live with it. You never know what's going to happen. All right? Enough already with this negativity on Aaron Rodgers and what he means and all this other bullshit. Look, why not us in 2025? Look, we're going to have the offensive line fixed. We're going to have Devontae. We're going to have Garrett. We're going to have a great running back room. We're going to have Aaron coming off a year of the Achilles. He looked better the last 5 games. He's going to have a different attitude this year. He's going to learn a new offense. He's going to be humbled. He's not going to be cocky.
If he does the pay cut and he's all in on a new system, I'm in. Like I want Rodgers back. I'm just
let me just say this to you. What is his salary in 2025? Can we know that?
Well, his salary is different than what his cap hit would be. His cap hit is manageable. It's $23 million. It's great. The salary the Jets need to owe him, it's either 35 or 37 million by week 1. It's an option bonus that's picked up if he's on the roster week 1. That's what he would be owed. So that becomes guaranteed then.
Let's take it from a salary perspective, okay? $37 million is a bargain for a quarterback in 2025. What's that put him? And that's not even the issue, right? Like the money's the money. The cap hit is the only thing that matters for. But we already discussed the cap hit, guys.
No. The cap hit is great. He's $23 million against the cap. That's nothing. It makes him one of the best bargains in the league. Like that's not the issue. The issue is if he's on the team at his current contract and they move on from him after a year, which is likely what this would be. He's the bridge quarterback for 1 year. They're stuck with $63 million in dead cap in 2026 that they could split up into 40 and then 20 something. But either way, that's a lot of dead cap for a GM coming in to deal with. So
I
the thought process is
we're going to stop it right here. Stop it right here, guys. The $40 million cap hit in 26 is not going to matter because we're not going to pay a quarterback. We'll have a rookie or a quarterback on a rookie contract.
Agreed.
That's not going to cost us anything.
Denver's the best example. Denver's the best example of this.
Exactly.
They just
Stop
made the
with
playoffs.
The bullshit on the goddamn cap hit. I'm tired of this shit. You guys are so stupid. Enough. We want Rodgers back. Everybody that has a brain in their goddamn skull knows that we have the best chance to win with Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. Enough of Tyrod Taylor and some other bridge asshole that's going to win us 4 games. That isn't happening. If you think Aaron Glenn is going to come in here and say, here's his opening speech. Guys, I'm ready to go. This is going to be a bad year. We're going to only win 3 or 4 games because we're going to have a bridge quarterback. And then we're going to get a second or third round pick in the draft that might be a good one. We don't know yet. We can't even pick the number 2 one we failed with twice in a row. But now we're going to get a great quarterback in the 3rd round. That's going to be a franchise quarterback. I have no faith in that. Jake, do you have any faith that we're going to take a 3rd round guy and turn him into a franchise quarterback?
No, I want Rodgers back, and if they drafted a quarterback, I could see it maybe they trade back into the end of round 1 or early round 2. That's it. Look at the teams that played in the divisional round. They're all 1st round guys besides Jalen Hurts, who's a 2nd rounder. And I will say this, Neil. One of my favorite lines from you is some other bridge asshole.
But wait a minute. So, like I said, to finish Aaron Glenn's opening speech to these guys that don't want Rodgers, and then we're going to control the cap really nicely, but we're only going to win 3 or 4 games, and we're going to have some asshole that got 5 touchdowns in 8 games last year. What's his name? The quarterback on the everybody wants. The
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields. Woo, he's beautiful. He had 5 touchdown passes in 8 games. And, boy, he could run like the Dickens. But he throws the ball to the other team all the time, more than he throws it to. He has a 50% completion percentage in his history. We want that. Oh, that's great. So let's go win 4 games next year, guys. Break. Let's get excited. I'm excited for 2025. I might renew my season tickets after that.
I'm gonna show you a graphic, Neil. I just want your reaction when you see this. All right. How does this make you feel as a long-suffering season ticket holding Jet fan?
I know the stats. Yeah, there it is. We got Zach back. There is what we want. We want 11, 12 interceptions, a couple touchdowns, and we want a guy that's going to fear for his life every time a pass rush comes. Guys, just stop it. I'm not going to tell you Aaron Rodgers is a top 10 quarterback, but I will say this to you. He doesn't need to be a top 10 quarterback. We have to focus on running the goddamn football. You know, I listened to a real smart kid on Paul Green's that's been on our team, your chat a lot.
Who is this, Paul Green?
He was on Boy Green's thing this morning. He made a good point. He said, look, Aaron Rodgers is not the reason we lost last year. The defense sucked. And the reality is, if we could put a good running, when the Denver and the Minnesota game, okay, Rodgers got the butt kicked because those guys committed to stopping the run and blitzed us like crazy, and Aaron Rodgers got killed. That would happen with any quarterback that was out there in those 2 games.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am encouraged that you go into next year. Olu's the left tackle, so in theory, Rodgers is getting killed because Tyron Smith was washed.
Oh, he was horrible.
You have 4 of your 5 O-linemen in place. I'd bring back Moses on a 1-year deal for continuity and have the same 5 guys with a better O-line coach and at least try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think it'd be foolish to just get rid of Rodgers because there's not a better option out there. And if he's all into a new offense and they can actually run the ball and the defense is fixed with Glenn, why can't Rodgers do what Chad Pennington did in 2006 when comeback player of the year and the Jets, who were supposed to win 4 games, make the playoffs in Mangini's first year? Why can't Rodgers play the Pennington role?
The problem we had is there was games that he had to throw 40 and 50 times. We don't want that. You're not going to win many games with a quarterback, no matter who he is, throwing the ball 40 or 50 times. The reality is we couldn't run the goddamn football. That was our problem, Jake. So if we get the offensive line fixed and get a competent offensive line coach that knows how to get offensive plays, we got 3 horses in the stable on the running game that are terrific. We have to run the ball first, ground and pound, and let Rodgers distribute the ball and keep it moving, keep this chains moving. Move the ball, and it's going to be a whole different offense for us next year. That's how I see it. And our defense is going to be much better because we're going to draft a couple guys on the D-line. We'll get a couple guys in free agency that are going to fill the gap, put a couple of fat bastards in there like Beast Breaker to stop the run.
Whoa. Well, Beast Breaker's only a 2X. You can't.
Yeah, he's a 2X. I'm a 10X in between my legs. He's a 2X like I'm a 10X. Okay, cut the bullshit. I know what he is. His boobs are 3X on top of it. If he has a 3, if he puts a 2X, I want to see him. I swear to God. Beastbreaker puts a 2X on. It's going to look like a guy wearing a girdle. His tits are going to be hanging out. He's going to look pathetic.
Family show.
He's going to look like a pathetic, ridiculous guy. We're going to see his belly button through a 2X. Because it's going to be so tight on him.
He wore 2X yesterday. He was wearing my Jake Asman shirt I sent him.
Are you sure it was a 2X?
Yeah, that's what I said. He got mad that Gator sent him a 6X. It was a whole thing.
I know. I saw.
He also called you Butthead. He says, "Hey, Butthead."
All right. I don't want to start throwing names around enough. I don't need the name calling enough.
He says, "Shut your pie hole."
Respect your elders, you fat bastard. Now, cut the bullshit. He's got to respect his elders. There's Philly Noodles coming on now. He's going to talk. He's going to put Philly on. He wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers is not going to be, our guy next year. I'm really in the air about that. I heard him this morning. I wanted to bust my.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
Hey,
wait,
how much
put
ayahuasca
Philly
is in that
Noodles
cigar?
on. You're not. Hold on. You're not Philly Noodles. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What'd you do to yourself? You're putting the hairspray on your head?
I fucking got a
shave. What the hell are you
shave.
doing, Philly?
I got a shave. I got a clean cut. I was at the Jets
You look
presser.
good, Philly.
I'm going
You
to
got
the
a
Jets
different
presser.
look. You got a different look for 25 there, buddy.
I'm saying, you know why? Because we got a new guy. We got a new Aaron. You got to throw the old Aaron out. We got an Aaron for an Aaron.
But Philly, could you please stop with the goddamn Aaron Rodgers hating? Did he do something? Did he screw your sister or something? What did he do to you?
No, listen.
Why do you hate the guy so much? Why
cigars,
do you
bro.
hate Aaron Rodgers? Tell me.
I don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't
Sure
see
you do.
him
You
for
tell me
our future.
the future again. Every year, if you want to say every year we're going to look into the future, Philly, you're going to get old like I am eventually.
Well, listen,
How
this
old
is what
are
I
you,
get to
buddy?
talk
How
about.
old are you, Philly?
I'm 37. 37.
You're young, okay?
Yeah.
But listen, 40's around the block. Then
I
you're
know.
going to turn around for the next regime and you'll be 50. Then you'll be like me and Joe B, ready for the grave without a Super Bowl. Is that
All
what
right,
you
hold on.
want?
Give me 30 seconds. Okay.
Go ahead.
Check it. So this is my problem. You want to rent him out as a
He's under contract. Stop.
No, yeah.
What do you mean rent him out?
Yes, you're renting him out. You want to rent him out for an extra year, maybe two, probably just a year, to give a quarterback a little bit of a leeway to learn behind him for one season. Now you're telling the GM he's going to have to cook the books again, kick it back another extra year. Meanwhile, we just saw Denver, who
cook the books. Philly,
one of the GMs who's literally
Philly, are you an accountant?
interviewed. What happened?
Are you an accountant? What do you mean cook the books? What the hell are you
Dude,
talking
they got to push the money back. They keep pushing money back for Aaron, bro. We don't have time to be doing that shit.
What do you mean you don't have time? Do you understand? If you got Kirk Cousins and brought him in on his contract,
no one told
which
Kirk
I
Cousins.
heard
Get out of
another
here.
genius said, wait, go ahead. So you cook the books. What are you talking about?
Listen, we just witnessed a GM who we just interviewed who took Denver's godforsaken problem of money, pushed it back, grabbed Nixon, and literally gave themselves a playoff run.
First of all, his name is Bo Nix, number one.
Nix,
and number two, okay, they have Sean Payton as their coach, and they had a very, very good defense, Denver. They had a top 5 defense this year, okay?
Okay.
And
what was our defense 2 years ago?
Okay, we didn't have it this year. We had a top 25 defense.
Okay, because we lost JFM. Who stole JFM? Who stole him? Oh, the GM that we just interviewed. I'm telling you, everyone needs to chill out. Aaron Rodgers, if he lasts another season, he'd be lucky. First off, I don't want a guy screaming kumbaya.
What do you mean if he lasts another season? What's going to happen to him? Is he going to get hurt or what's going to happen?
Dude, he can't even run. He can't even run one game without having a bruised thigh or some shit. He's literally falling apart.
Let me just say this to you. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that after that beating he took in Minnesota and Denver wouldn't even have got off the mat, dude. He got his
all
ass
at the age of 38 or older. What are you kidding me? Come on. We need a
he
young
got his
quarterback,
ass
bro.
kicked. Do you want to blame? And he still played, Philly. It wasn't. He played every game.
Listen. No, he shouldn't have played every game. Aaron Glenn would have told him to sit down when he was fucking injured.
Okay. My point is, this year that'll happen. If he's healthy, Philly, if he's healthy and he goes on the field and he manages the game and we run the ball 30 times a game and he passes 20, we should be fine. That should work.
No, this is what I'm confused about. Really, no, honestly. Everyone has screamed, including yourself. Why can't we just get a playoff run? Why can't we just make the playoffs? My thing is, if you're bringing back Aaron, you're trying to tell me we're going to win a Super Bowl because that's what he's looking for. We're not looking to just
look for Philly. You always look for a Super Bowl. Do you understand? If I was 4-13, wait, let's back it up. Let's say this is a Washington Commander chat a year ago. and we're coming off a 4-13 season, right? And we say we're going to bring in a rookie quarterback and a coach and this and that and everything else, right? Bottom
They
line
weren't preaching
is
Super Bowl.
they weren't preaching Super Bowl, right? If I was 4-13 and I got in a chat and said, "Oh wow, we got what's his name? What's the quarterback's name again?"
Jaden Daniels.
We got Shane Daniels. Philly, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. You would say, Neil, go take a fucking Geritol.
I would tell you.
Hang out in the
That's
corner.
right.
Maybe we'll make the playoffs. Maybe. And guess what? They're a game away from a Super Bowl. Philly, you can't think that the team with our talent and is going to just maybe make the playoffs. That's a loser mentality.
That quarterback is an outlier to compare to Aaron's skill level anymore that he's got left. That's what I'm saying. You need a younger dude to do what you just said. That's the truth. Pittsburgh don't want him. The Vikings don't want him. Listen, nobody wants him but us.
To do what? To do what?
All he has to do, dude.
Wait, listen. The quarterback is not the only player on a team that takes you to the playoffs. You have 22 players on a team. Okay. The bottom line is Aaron Rodgers in his career is like 80-12 when he has a top 10 defense. I mean, when the defense gives up 20 points or less. That's a great record. Now, he's not what he was. We all agree with that. He's not an MVP Aaron Rodgers. Okay. However, he could be a top 15 quarterback, and that's enough to get our team. Do you think he's going to be a Philly? Philly.
Bro,
Philly, he fucking threw 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He was not a bad quarterback this year, Philly.
All right, that's a rumble. Neil, I think you're going to make the top 5 this month, if not the top 3. The one thing I'll say, Philly, is the goal with Aaron Rodgers should be not the Super Bowl. It's end the longest playoff drought in sports. You got to build, man. I bring up the 06 Jets. It's one of my favorite Jet teams. They had no expectations. They were supposed to suck. Mangini comes in. He got the Mangenius name because Chad stayed healthy. They had a good team. They were well coached, and they went 10-6 and made the playoffs. I think they could do that with Rodgers with better coaching. And to be fair to Aaron, I mean, how many times did he play well enough for them to win for the defense to blow it late? And Aaron is not blameless here. He was not great. Like, I was in London and watched him throw 3 picks against the Vikings and lose that game. I was there. But there were also games where he played well and the team lost. Like when he threw 300 yards against the Buffalo Bills, the Hail Mary game with Lazard, and Tyron Smith's committing a brutal holding penalty that wiped away what would have been the potential game-winning touchdown by Braylon Allen. And then Greg Zuerlein's missing the kick, missing an extra point that night. And they had no coaching, man. Ulbrich was a disaster. Just like the 05 Jets, it was a disaster. And then Mangini came in, and they had real coaching, and they won. There's talent on this team. I think Aaron Rodgers, a year removed from the Achilles, could be a little better. And if he's around the same, but he's healthier because the line is better in place, I think he's their best option, assuming pay cut, and he's on board with the new offense. That, to me, is the thing. It's like, I don't know the better option at quarterback if you're going to try and win games next year, which I think should be the goal. Try and make the playoffs. Go 9-8 and at least have a winning season if you can't make the playoffs. 4 new teams on average make the playoffs every year in the NFL that were not there the previous year. I want the Jets to be that team, man. Before Robert Saleh and Adam Gase, every first-time Jet coach had a winning record since 2000. Groh, Mangini, Herm, Mangini, Rex. Bowles won 10 games his first year. There's talent on this team. So no one's saying Aaron Rodgers is an MVP. I'm not expecting him to do that. But I do think Neil's right. I think he could be a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think it's crazy. You know, he stunk in that Bills game. I didn't think he played well in that Seahawks game, but, you know, he played well in spurts in that Rams game. That was a weird game because, like, neither team had the possession a lot. They couldn't score in the red zone, but they moved the ball between the 20s. I thought he played well against Jacksonville. He played well in Miami. He played well against the Dolphins the last game of the year. And, look, these aren't, like, world-beater teams. He played well against Houston, though. They were a playoff team that won a playoff game. Played well enough to win against Indy. Played well enough to win against the Patriots. He played well enough to win the first Bills game. He played well enough to win I missing anything? Like, he's not perfect, but I just be careful what you wish for. Like a Jet quarterback throwing 28 touchdowns, even if, they throw a lot and it's not the greatest of efficiency, I get it, is not nothing. Like Aaron Rodgers is the first Jet quarterback since Darnold in 2019 to throw more than, you see it there on your screen, 9 touchdown passes in a season. So there's an argument to be made that he should be back. And I'll tell you what, we're running a poll here. There's almost 250 votes in the 11 minutes I've had it up. Do you want the Jets to bring Rodgers back? Yes, he's the best option, has 83% of the vote right now. And I think Aaron Glenn is the kind of guy that, as a former player, could get the buy-in from Rodgers. We'll see. If Rodgers is not on board, then you won't bring him back. But I think he's their best option. I do. And I know people bring up Justin Fields. Are we sure Justin Fields is leaving Pittsburgh? Or he'd want to come here? Citybird, AG's first task, repair Garrett Wilson-AR relationship. If it even needs to be repaired. I think a lot of it's overblown, to be honest. I think Garrett's frustration is losing, not Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously, look, the first thing they should do is offer a contract extension to Garrett Wilson. You guys know my thoughts on Garrett. Should be a Jet his whole career. Hennessy says, remember, all we need was average quarterback play. That was the case in 2023. I know people laugh at it now, but this defense was not what they were. If Aaron Rodgers gave you the exact same performance he gave you this year, which was uneven, at times it was good, other times it was horrible, he was probably anywhere from like the 15th to the 20th best quarterback in football. Like, I think that's fair. Maybe a little worse than that, fine. But if he did that in 2023 with that Jets team, that'd be more than enough to win 10 games. They won 7 a few years ago because the defense was top 3. Greg Zuerlein was the most efficient kicker in the NFL that year. I think he missed 3 total kicks all year. By the way, Commanders fans love Greg Zuerlein. He's the reason why they have Jane Daniels right now. That kick that he made against the Commies, that's why they have Jaden Daniels. That's why Jaden Daniels is playing this weekend for the Commanders. More of your calls right now. Stan from Westport's next. Hey, Stan. Stan, you're on mute.
Hi. Hey, how are you, Jake? Spirited discussion, and it's always great to see Joe B. I mean, Joe B got like 2/3 of what he wanted, right? He didn't quite want Aaron Glenn as his first choice, but it seems like Aaron Glenn's indicated he'd probably bring Rodgers back. As far as Rodgers goes, it's real simple. I think the Jets, if they play the capabilities and Aaron Glenn can motivate them to do so, particularly on defense, they have a shot at the playoffs. I mean, this team was supposed to be a playoff team this year. They don't have that many holes. They got good running backs. They got good receivers. Obviously, Aaron. They got a decent line that I think got better as the year went on. It's all about the D. The D was vaunted and supposed to be great. So if he can get that D to play to reasonable capabilities, why couldn't they be a playoff team? But without Aaron Rodgers, I don't see how they could possibly, do an 11-6 or 10-7 type of thing. That's my opinion.
I agree. Look, it could happen. There's a risk with Glenn because you just don't know. That's why I wanted someone more proven. But, you have to like him as a candidate as far as his qualifications, his pedigree, what he's been through. Yeah. It's just, you never know with any first timer. So we're all just hoping as Jet fans they finally got it right. They certainly do. That's what I keep coming back to.
It's true, and it's about motivating the guys to play to capabilities and not make the ridiculous. I mean, if you think about it, how many leads you made the point about Zuerlein? That's a one-off thing, kind of weird kicker stuff. But how many times did the Jets build a lead that they should have won a game and the D gave it up? Like, it was crazy. It shouldn't have happened that way. So.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was the worst season of my lifetime because of the expectations and just like they led the NFL in blown fourth quarter leads. You can't be an awful team from a talent standpoint and have the lead in the fourth quarter that many times. It's like they were just so poorly coached. Right. I've never seen a team that had worse coaching, and a lot of it was the owner firing Saleh, which he wasn't a great coach, but he's obviously Vince Lombardi compared to Jeff Ulbrich. I mean, it was crazy.
You know, Woody wanted to send a message that he thought might inspire the underperformance, but it actually had the opposite effect, right?
Yeah, blew up in his face.
Destabilization was not going to help, and that's how everybody took it. But listen, the core is there. It's just a question of building on it. And I got a wild card QB that you might think about. What's wrong with this guy from Ohio State? You know, Will. He's good.
Will Howard?
Yeah, Will Howard. I mean, I think he showed really well all through the BCS and obviously won it. But I mean, he seems to be a pretty solid guy, and I don't think he's going to be, a top 10 pick or anything. He might be that kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe as a day 2 guy for sure. I mean, it's not a great quarterback class. So if the Jets are going to take someone, I definitely could see him being in the mix for day 2. I know Joe mentioned Kyle McCord, former Ohio State guy, Syracuse quarterback had a good year. Jackson Dart.
You know what happens, Jake, in these types of drafts? That lower round pick, mid-round pick becomes like the all-pro guy. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, they get hyped up, man. I mean, that's quarterback, especially in today's NFL. You see guys constantly overdrafted.
That's right. And listen, if you get in the right situation and you're a good learner, and you could be okay now and be great later. That happens, and it goes the other way too. How many superstar guys fail? So it happens both ways. All right, my man.
Call.
Oh, be well. Always.
The great Stan from Westport. Stan's awesome. Met him actually at a Joe Benigno live podcast taping I was at. When I was on with Joe the day after the Jets beat the Pats. They were 2-1. I presented Joe with a Rodgers jersey, and I'm like, here we go, baby. We got to have a good team this year. Oh, little did I know. Ladies and gentlemen, the King is on the line. King Lowski's up next. What's up, King?
Jake, my brother. Jake, my brother. It's always good to see you, my brother. I've heard all the chatter. I've watched all the streams, man. I didn't want to come on the stream yesterday when Aaron Glenn got hired because I wanted to hear everybody else's opinion. But let me just say this first and foremost, man. Congratulations to Aaron Glenn. Welcome back to the Jets, my brother. I'm glad to see you in the building. But you wasn't my first choice, and Jake, you know that. I wanted Brian Flores, but now that you're in the building, let's get down to business, okay? At the end of the day, it's really disturbing when I hear guys say the first thing that Aaron Glenn needs to do when he walks in a building is men relationships. Let me tell you something, people. I could give a damn about a relationship. The first damn thing Aaron Glenn needs to do when he walks in that building is to get the undisciplined bullshit out the building, okay? You go through that talent, you evaluate that damn talent, and you get that undisciplined bullshit out the building, okay? To hell with mending relationships and who's friends with who, I don't give a damn. Okay, get that undisciplined bullshit out there, and it's especially on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, get that out the building now. Okay, now let me just say this to the people who want to get Aaron Rodgers up out the building. Are you dumb? Are you freaking dumb? Okay, have you lost your damn mind? Did you see that damn child we had at quarterback at the damn 3 years ago? Did you see who the child was that we had at quarterback? Did you see that bullshit that was on the field that we was producing on the field 3 damn years ago? This is the best damn quarterback we had since damn, I don't know who the hell. Okay? I don't even want to go down the list of that trash we've been drafting. Okay, Sam Darnold, oh, he looks good now. Well, he reverted back to the same bullshit he was doing when he was with us at the end of the year. Okay, I don't want to hear nothing about no Sam Darnold. Zach does Child Wilson. You got me messed up. Okay, you get A-Rod back in this damn building. Okay, you get Aaron Glenn and him on the same page. We ain't doing that same bullshit, A-Rod, where you calling all the damn plays and changing changes shit. You listen to the damn coaches. Y'all come up with a good scheme and a good damn game plan, and you go out there and win some damn games. Okay? Because we tired of this losing shit. The hell with that losing shit. Okay? Now let's get some priorities together, people. Okay? Because I'm not reverting back to the same bullshit we was dealing with for the past 3 to 4 years recently and the past 14 years with no freaking playoffs. Okay? Let's get our priorities straight, people. Okay? To hell with friends and relationships and get disciplined, damn it. JTS! JTS!
Yeah.
Excuse me, miss. I need to return this damn child. He's no good. Sometimes a child just is no good. Take this one back.
Let's go, baby. King Lowski in midseason form. Aaron Glenn getting them fired up. I love it. All right, more of your calls coming up. We've only added 3 members. I want to remind people, Garrett Wilson jersey giveaway will be early next week. Signed Joe Klecko jersey giveaway now added to the batch. I'll make that the second place prize because it's more valuable than the Aaron Glenn signed card, although someone might really want this, so I'm excited for that. And the Breece Hall jersey patch card that is also autographed by Breece as well. So spending big money to make money around here. Shout out to the Asmaniacs for the membership support so we can keep doing giveaways going forward. I want to share with you guys Aaron Glenn talking about his defensive mindset, because what Lowski's talking about is exactly what I believe Aaron Glenn, and we don't know he's a first-timer, but you hope Aaron Glenn could actually bring.
First off, I'm going to give you what I tell our guys our defensive philosophy is, right? And that's going to go into being an ass kicker. Number one, we play with maximum effort. All right, here's what I tell guys. There's 3 elements of effort. Got burst, speed, and finish, right? So if I don't see one of those, right, like you just went against our standard. You just went. If I don't see all 3 of them, I don't see it, man, you're a traitor. Go play for somebody else. Go play for somebody else. And they know that. You could ask everyone that's in that room, defensive room, if we don't see all 3 of those, you are a traitor. Go play for the other team. All right, the next one is violence. Man, we want to bring that back because what happened, the refs, not the refs, but the NFL, right, have brought that out of the game. All right, but we're going to bring that back the right way, though, the right way. We understand the rules, but, man, you can be violent in this game still, right, even with the rules, right? There's a way of being violent. Man, the last one, man, we want to take the ball away, right? I'm talking about punching the ball. I'm talking about interceptions, and we have to have awareness as far as what the offense is doing, right? So when you put all those together, man, that's an ass kicker to me, right? And that's what we try to be on the field. And listen, win, lose, or draw, the one thing you're going to say about our defense, you was in the fight. You in the fight. So I got, and all good, because at the end of the day, man, we're going to win majority of those battles, I tell you that, right? We're going to win, and we got to get there, right? But you're going to know you was in the fight. That's an ass kicker.
An ass kicker. And
let's go. Let's go, Aaron Glenn. Please be good. Please, I can't take it anymore. More of your calls. Ladies and gentlemen, we say hello to Beastbreaker's sworn arch nemesis, the big fella. Hello, big fella.
Hey, man. Yo, I got to get an Aaron Glenn jersey, man.
Yeah, I'm working on a little parts unknown plug for that, so stay tuned.
Yeah. Now, the Aaron Rodgers poll that you put up, I voted yes, but there's conditions to that.
I agree. I
don't. If he's hurt, he's got to come out of the game, and I don't want him throwing the. He wasn't throwing balls down the field last year. You know, I mean, we got to have a guy who's throwing the ball down the field and is able to move. If that's the case, bring him back. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with that, but if he's hurt, he's got to sit down. I mean, he hurt the team last year when he was in the game and he was hurt. That's what I see anyway.
I agree. I think, part of it's his mentality of like being a warrior and wanting to play, but it's like he was too hurt to be effective. And that's why Tyrod was supposed to be here. But I think part of it's like no one held Aaron Rodgers accountable. Like, and I get it because like he's Aaron Rodgers and he basically vouched for Saleh to have a job going into this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Obrick is not going to pick a fight with the Hall of Fame quarterback when he's fighting for his life as the intern to try and get this job. You hope with Aaron Glenn here and his staff and the ability to do it his way that a lot of that wouldn't be a problem now. At least I hope. I mean, I look at Aaron Rodgers through the lens of a bridge. Look at what Phillip Rivers did the year he went to the Colts and he won 11 games. They made the playoffs. Like that's how you should be with Aaron Rodgers. Like get the right situation around him. Can they win enough games to compete for a playoff spot? I think they can, and I think he gives them the best chance to do it.
Yeah, and for me, draft Jackson Dart and let him sit behind him. But we'll
I would
see
love that. Yeah, I don't want it at 7 though. I don't mind
think
7
either.
is crazy.
I want Will Johnston at 7, and DJ Reed could hit the bricks because him leading the team in in penalties last year, not good. We can't have that. So draft the corner at 7, draft Dart later, and I'd be totally happy with that. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that.
What are your thoughts on Beastbreaker? Can you and him get on the same page finally about this war?
Well,
you spent a lot of money to hole him yesterday.
Nah, yesterday was a crazy day, man. We went at it for over 2.5 hours, man.
I saw.
Yeah, it was.
Not everyone can see it though, because it's only in the green room backstage here on StreamYard.
Yeah, we went at it for over 2.5 hours. I said my piece and stuff like that, and I'm sorry everybody had to see that, but not everybody saw it, but the people in the private chat had to see that. But it was a battle, I'll say that.
Look, I'm going to bring Beast on, and hopefully no one sends him to the hole. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you do, I mean, Cincy Matt might be out there to save him. So Beast got a lot more allies than I think you realize.
No, I'm not going to send him to the hole today. Like I said, we went at it yesterday, and he told me some stuff yesterday, and so I'm not going to go at it with him today.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
All right.
Just
Big
kidding.
Fella.
No.
Big fella, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do it today, honestly.
Right. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Big fella, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to go to Beast, but Beast will understand why I can't go to him. A guy just called in that the chat has been dying to hear from for months, and because he called in, you have to have called in over the last 3 months to be eligible for Asmaniac Madness. Because this guy called in, he is officially now eligible for the tournament in March. He was firmly on the bubble whether or not he'd be a part of it. So I'm going to do this properly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the return of Scott.
Scott calling in. Whoa, what's the matter? What the hell is that?
Scott, what's up, man?
Hello, everybody in TV land. Nothing good. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh, we hear you, Scott. Where have you been?
All right. So, thank you. But let's see. Let's talk some football.
Are you okay, Scott? You don't sound very
welcome, Aaron
happy.
Glenn, and we wish him the best. Talking about the defense, physicality.
Scott, your internet's terrible.
I think there's a lot of things like anything. He's new, and personally, no, I'm not happy. But it's not about me.
You're not happy. This delay is all time. We'll answer our other
Can
questions.
you hear me?
No. Well, yes, but after a while. Scott, why aren't you happy? Answer this in 10 minutes when you hear it.
No. All right. Okay. So Yeah, okay. Of kind of like the brain trust of what he's bringing in. You're bringing in a new head coach. We need an offensive coordinator that has to be implemented in the new language that they're going to have to use besides the hand signals to get going. And I'm wondering also who else he's bringing in to, as an advisory. He's the first kind of look up to, kind of like, Bill Parcells on a daily basis. Who else is, like I said, like a cabinet, like a CEO? Who am I going to look to in certain situations? You look at Joe Torre. Who do you bring in? Don Zimmer, the guy who's been in 40, 50 years of baseball, seen all different kinds of options. And even Don Zimmer said, I'm not the greatest head coach, but I've been in a lot of situations just to give advisory to. That's one. Two, I like the defense. We're going to be physical. Conditioning, that's part of it. You got to be in shape, and that's fatigue accumulation. And I think too, part of it is kind of like I call like emotional calmness, where you're doing your job, it's emotional. What's your assignment? You kind of have to have amnesia a little bit to forget the bad stuff, but selective memory, be like, okay, this is what they're doing, this is what they like to do, these are the variations, the modalities that they make. Defensively. Offensively, I believe I believe in keeping Aaron back. What other options do you have? He's going to be motivated. He's going to have Devontae back another year in the system. Garrett Wilson, the whole crew, Braylon, Brees, etc. You bring him back, 4/5 of the O-line. That's a heck of a start. You add in a D tackle, defensive end. You're getting Jermaine Johnson back. Maybe we don't get DJ Reed back, but who knows? It's other options other than a quarterback at Aaron Rodgers. No, it's not out there, guys. So I can just start with that. And I don't know if you can see it. There's all kinds of stuff I've been thinking about. So,
Scott,
we're not going to be bricked up this year. We're not doing that garbage. Best of wishes to them. Just not against us, obviously. Same thing with nah, not so good, man.
Did they find the murderer?
But like I said, things go on, and maybe for another day. But there was no murder. There was just the place is a multi-million-dollar place. There's nothing that was dark-skinned like myself. I would talk to the owner all the time. There was no issue with me.
Are you still working at
How about yourself?
Kitchen place? The food place? Restaurant? Simulator? Golf simulator?
No. I'll never work in the kitchen again.
How come?
No, that nearly killed me. I'm not doing it. And when I say nearly killed me, I mean, well, I had to go to the hospital for it. Thought I was either going to die, have a stroke, have a heart attack, which that didn't happen, obviously.
Are you okay health-wise, Scott? You're concerning us.
It's not going down like that. So,
Scott, what are your thoughts?
No, I feel good now. I've been lifting at home. I've been I had to get my electrolytes way back. They were way out of whack. Even my doctor's like, dude, your electrolytes were so messed up. So that took about, I think they're pretty good. Dial-up is a wonderful service, is it not? I mean, what is artificial? What does AI know? I mean, if Aaron Glenn's not going to be our all the problems like Bobby Fischer did with Big Blue, just plug it in. This is the analytics. This is what But how you been, man? I'm glad to see everyone's all right. Glad the opportunity for being on the back of the daily. You deserve it. I don't know why you have to fill in for other people. They should be filling in for your show. But
I
that's my
appreciate
opinion.
that, Scott. You're the man. Now, you'll be able to hear this question in about 10 minutes, but I want to know, have you been to the park lately, and have you chased any ducks around?
I have not been to the park. Not in months. It's more of a consultation for the Ducks. You know, you got these guys like Boise State who try and kill my Ducks with their stupid blue field. I don't like that. But I hope my Ducks are okay. You know, of course, you know, Mother Nature can use me as her guide.
I'll tell you what, Scott, you've been missed. Hopefully next time you call in, you'll have way better internet and we can go more in depth on where you've been the last 5 months.
Like I said, not good, man. But yeah, no, I enjoy everyone. I appreciate you taking the time and doing everything on a daily basis, hours, whatever. Talking Jet football. Like I said, I got. That's just
I want
the
you to
start.
send those to Aaron Glenn.
That's just some of it. I think he would take a look at him. I would. You know, maybe the legend Bobby Midnight could look at him and decipher for all of us. If you look up at the screen and say, "Hi, Bobby." Kidding, Bobby. Hope all is well, Bobby.
Scott, you are a legend. Call back soon and continued success, man. Good to get you back on the show. The hair looks tremendous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Everybody.
What's going down, dude? I'm at a park right now, and I'm pumping out food. A lot better than Chipotle. Bar food, and wing dingers and stuff like that. We're getting pounded. We don't have a dishwasher yet, so we're doing dishes. You know, what are we banging on Joe D today, or what's the scoop? I want to ask people if there are any Jet fans out here. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we have a Jet fan. Hey, come back here. Are you a Jet fan? You are? Affleck? And maybe you are. I guess not. Probably not.
Nice hair jacket.
This is Jet Talk here.
Jets are trash, pink eyes. Bobby!
I really don't give a crap, you cartoon character.
Speaking of crap, I got food poisoning from those wing dingers.
Bobby made my day. My man, Bobby Midnight. God bless him. That was awesome.
Wow, that was great to hear from Scott. Scott is officially eligible for the tournament in March now. Thank God. There was some real concern. Where do you rank Scott? He hasn't called in, but he's a memorable caller. He's a big part of the show. It was really the summer of Scott on this channel for any diehard Jet fan who's with us in June and July when there's nothing going on. All right. Trying to do a Jet show twice a day when there's nothing to talk about. That's where we had Scott at his best. Ladies and gentlemen, I have right now the official Asmaniac anthem for Jets head coach Aaron Glenn. Gator McCluskey presents 31 AGHC. Gator McCluskey, everybody. Gator Sports on YouTube. Subscribe. Let's go. Aaron Glenn's our guy now. We got to root for him. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm fired up. And you know what you do when you're fired up? You know what you do around here? You unleash the beast, damn it.
You know what time it is? A beast breaker. 666. I'm gonna take my fist and shove it up your ass. And then he gotta go.
Yeah.
Go time, showtime. It's It's afternoon there in New York City. A little cold down here. Hey, I like that black guy. He was cool. He brought some heat. I like a little of that heat. I wish he'd bring some chicken and we could throw a little hot sauce on here. You know, the old fashioned.
You just always have hot sauce with you, Beast?
Hey, hot sauce is the sexy thing, my friend. It goes good with chicken. It goes good with hot wings. And hey, if you want action, you get off with on a pizza.
Beast, what's up with your internet? I can barely hear every other word. You had Scott with the internet issues. You're having some internet.
Hold on, you can hear me clear, right?
Not
maybe. You got me, right? Well, I'm going to say right here, our D line. And how many times did Greg Zuerlein doink the bar? You know, doink, doink, doink. 6 times. That guy was an idiot. And can we get a clip of Greg Zuerlein doinking that bar like he did in the one game? Do you have a footage for that?
No, I don't.
Yep.
I can't hear Beast. Get the internet figure. I can't hear you.
Hold on.
Breaker 666. He's the man who would kick your ass, and then he's gobble-goo.
Beast, come back to us, man. Jeez. I didn't hear the beginning of his call. I don't think it's me with the internet issues. I do have breaking Jet news though. Aaron Glenn's introductory press conference will be Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we'll go live right after that for instant reaction. Or maybe I'll figure out how to stream it live on this and then be live for it. We'll figure that out. Anyway, more of your calls. Let's say hello to Indy Jets. Hello, Indy.
Hey, Jake. How are you doing today?
What's up, Indy? How are you?
Good. You know, I voted for. I don't want to bring Rodgers back, and the more I got in depth into his stats, I really got surprised by the completion percentage on the pocket pressures, the +2.5 and the -2.5 seconds. His stats are comparable to the likes of Bryce Young. He's about 10 percentage points below your top 10 quarterbacks like Allen and Herbert and Burrow, and then he's on the -2.5 seconds, and then on the +2.5 seconds, he's almost 12 percentage points below. That's not even average play. We've just been we had such piss poor luck on quarterbacks that because he threw for 20 plus touchdowns, we're happy for that. But
they're 28. That's not nothing.
I just think. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. For as a Jets fan, yes, the numbers look good, but when you dive into it, he didn't play well. I mean, like I said, he played as well as Bryce Young did. Didn't throw as many touchdowns, but Aaron Rodgers has more experience and more weapons than Bryce Young did. But his completion percentage, especially in the pocket under pressure, was comparable to that.
I mean,
if you're going to compare, if he's going to be comparable to Bryce Young.
All right, but Bryce Young also got better at the end of the year, and the hour was trending up with him. Aaron, healthier down the stretch, looked a lot better. Like he looked more mobile. You know, you can convince me to move on, but I don't agree with saying that he's not. He's not average. Like I think Aaron Rodgers could be an average quarterback next year.
I mean, he could be, but I think this year, when we dive into his actual stats, and you got to factor in some of the garbage time that he had, and when you look at the pocket, we blame a lot of it on the offensive line with Smith and all that, but when he had less than 2.5 seconds, like other quarterbacks, they keep track of those stats. He was right in there with the likes of Bryce Young. Everybody else was in there in the mid 70% factor with less than 2.5 seconds, and Rodgers was 66%. He was at 55% with plus 2.5 seconds. that's 10 points below everybody else. So to me,
I get it.
that's
I still
not
think he's their
average.
best option, though, Andy. Like I'm watching the games the same way you are, and I thought he played reasonably well the last couple games. I thought he played well in some of the games they lost. Like, and I also think they're, I heard Rick DiPietro talk about this on his radio show this morning, and Rick was a great athlete who got injured a ton. He's like, there's something to be said for him potentially feeling better off the Achilles with another year removed, that second year. So I'm open to it. I think he could be competent next year and give him a chance with better coaching and a running game.
Yeah, as far as the options go, we don't have a lot of options, but he's probably the best option we have right now.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not going to draft one of the top quarterbacks, so but I just think that he plays probably closer to the bottom than he is average, at least last year. Maybe next year he can step up and play average, but when I see his stats compared to Bryce Young and nothing near the Josh Allens and so forth, as far as completion percentage, that just tells me right there that he just, and we saw him miss throws after throws that he shouldn't be missing. So maybe it's, I'm about 49% that he stays and goes.
Well, I just don't see a better option out there, Indy. That's the thing. Like, I don't want Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis to be the quarterbacks. I don't. I think Aaron Rodgers is better than Tyrod. I think Tyrod's going to get hurt. From North Jersey writes in, here's when you know you've gone too far with the stupidity. A bartender from a lounge on Route 17 is a better option than Rodgers. The bartender will try hard. Rodgers will not. Rodgers won't even attend mandatory camps that clash with his vacations. I'm not even going to revisit the minicamp nonsense. It's so ridiculous. I'm just going to send you to the hole and call it a day. Please, never watch the show again.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
I mean, you have Breece Hall on Twitter, Jermaine Johnson on Twitter, trying to campaign for Rodgers to be back. But yeah, I mean, the bartender on Route 17 cares more than Aaron Rodgers does. He played 17 games and played through some significant injuries. If he didn't care, why did he do that? I mean, come on, man. Aaron Rodgers played through a grade 2 hamstring tear, an MCL sprain, and a high ankle sprain, according to Jay Glazer. I'm not even answering the minicamp stuff. It's ridiculous. He went to 12 of the 14 offseason practices. So if he went to only 2 of them, right? Only the 2 mandatory ones, but then didn't go to the voluntary ones, what would you be saying? Lamar Jackson went to how many? Oh, he didn't go to half of the voluntary ones? Why is that not discussed? Because it doesn't matter. The Jets, by the way, were 2-1. Do you think this season was awful because of minicamp? When they start bad, if it had a negative impact on the year, they were 2-1, and then they fell apart. How does that make sense? Doesn't fit your narrative. Bo, 28 touchdowns. Well, what other quarterback can bring us that? And look, it's not even to me all just about the touchdowns, but it's like just to where you're just getting better quarterback play as a whole. Like if they move on from Rodgers, chances are whoever the quarterback is not throwing 28 touchdowns next year. What you hope is you could replace Rodgers' production in the aggregate. You have a better running attack. The defense forces more turnovers, gives you more possessions, which means more of an opportunity to score points. Your kicker doesn't suck. So you actually score points on field goals instead of blowing games by missing kicks. That's the stuff that you would have to do. I don't think anyone is replacing 28 touchdowns. I'd love to be wrong on that. They cut Rodgers. Justin Fields is here, and he has a Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield resurgence. Anyone really think that's going to happen? Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get up close. It is time to get personal. It is time for David T.
I got my Iron UG. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see. sometimes when I have a few drinks, I slip and fall and break my face. Not that my vision was bad enough. Now I have this dog shit scar. Hi, Jake.
Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Really good take on the Beast saying that hot sauce is the sexy thing. I really appreciated him
I
saying
couldn't
that.
hear his call. I got to go back and watch it. He was cutting out for me, and then he was holding up a hot sauce bottle. So I don't even know what he said.
At first it was really hard for me to hear, but I did catch the hot sauce thing, and you had asked him. I think you had said, "Beast, do you have hot sauce with you at all time?" And the Beast says, "Yes, hot sauce is the sexy thing." That much I call it.
All right, I'm gonna have to review the tape.
Well, when he gets on again, he'll hopefully his internet will be good and he can clarify everything. But I'd just like to since your show came on, give a shout out to Joe Benigno and Neil. I mean, fascinating Jets fans, good men, and they're with it all. And I love hearing the stories about previous Jets things and players and all that kind of stuff. They remind me of my dad, my uncles. It's kind of like tell it like it is. That's what they used to say. But anyway, my question is on the GM thing. When they hired Aaron Glenn, it was my take that the guy from Washington was going to come with him as a package deal, which didn't happen. No, and now you flashed up the two guys today. I guess they're going to interview today, and they both have connections with Aaron Glenn. My feeling is, does it have to be guys that had connections with Aaron Glenn, which would be fine, but could they still come up with a Demetrio, candidate and make him the general manager, or is it? Am I feeling it's got to be somebody that has connections with Aaron Glenn?
I look. I don't think it should be someone who has connections with Aaron Glenn. I think they should hire the best candidate because Aaron Glenn was considered a top-notch coaching candidate. So there's going to be GMs who would be thrilled to work with him. Like, to me, find someone who's the best qualified GM candidate, and as long as their organizational values and how to build our team align, that should be the guy over someone who's just friends with Aaron Glenn. Like, you need people who are the best at what they do, and they could form a relationship rather than, oh, they're buddy, and that's why it's going to work. So I'm glad they're doing second-round GM interviews with more than just one guy. I think that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jake, and it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. So that's all I got, buddy.
David, all the love, man. Keep up the great work.
I got my Iron UJ. I hope you like my Jets take. They call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
David T, everybody, one of the greats. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. There's 631 in here right now. Once again, memberships to get the signed Wilson jersey, signed Klecko jersey, signed Aaron Glenn card, signed Breece Hall card, and I'm going to send Joe one of these for his man cave. The Joe Willie Namath replica Super Bowl ring. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Let me get to a super chat here. Hennessy in the house. Wasn't it nice to see the great Ben Johnson get sent home by the team he turned down and the quarterback he didn't want last year? Poetic justice. Yeah, you make a good point. I was rooting for the Lions, though. I wanted to see them win for their fans. The Lions are, like the NFC Jets. So that's tough for them. They can still be good next year, but it's hard to replace both your coordinators. Philly took a step back the year after they went to the Super Bowl when they had to do it. Now they're right back to being good again because Sirianni's a good coach and he corrected it. But, the Lions could be in for a step back next year, and that sucks because they're that close. This might have been their best chance. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls. It's time to check in with a man who was mentioned by Scott during his triumphant return to the program earlier for those tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Bobby Midnight.
Well, I love to talk and hate to type. Jake, when is your next show? Alan is a cartoon character. Bobby. Well, wasn't it very nice to see Scott this morning? I was very happy.
The return of Scott.
He's great. I love his hair, doesn't it? It looks like a palm tree in his hair. And Joe Benigno, okay, he didn't remember me, but he's just awesome. I love him.
Why don't you thank Nate for spending $500?
Yeah, I did. I already thanked him. I already said I will pay him back $5 on the 29th. Yep, we got all that taken care of. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
why are you so snippy?
No, you said you
no. You're very snippy.
No.
You come in here with your attitude, and I don't want to put up with it. What's the problem?
No, you told. I thanked him already. I already thanked him already.
Okay, I said you should thank Nate. Sorry, I missed it. I'm trying to host a show here with thousands of people watching, Bobby. I didn't know you thanked Nate.
Yes,
I thought it was very nice what he did, and I wanted his nice gesture to be acknowledged.
So too. I was going to pay him back, but he said, "Don't worry about it." No. But I did thank him, right, Nate? I thank you very much. I appreciate that. That was very nice of him. Or else that one that you got put up on the thing anyway. If it was cute to him. So I like jumping. I do like. I like this sign that we did.
Dave Brigga says Bobby's still angry about the Irish losing.
Dave Brigga, why don't you go bury somebody? Okay, bye.
Nate writes in, he thanked me, Jake, but it wasn't sincere enough. Well, make sure you give a sincere apology.
Nate,
thank you. I mean,
thank you. I really like you, Nate. I said I would pay you back on the 29th. I said thank you.
He says, just kidding. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Nate. I love Nate. I should hear back from today from the lady from Burger King.
About an interview or about if you got the job?
Probably, hopefully the job. First, probably the interview first, then hopefully the job.
Do you think you're going to be kind of like Aaron Glenn, where it's like one interview and it's basically your job to lose? Or do you think it's going to be a multi-round process?
No, it's probably going to be one thing. Well, she called me honey. Who would call you up as a man, talk to you as a manager, and call you honey before she hang up? Who would?
Bobby? Hello? Bobby? Bobby Midnight? Robert Woodruff? Bobby? Gator writes in, Bobby was about to get to his annual Jets point. Kevin says this guy needs a girlfriend. Tom Hayes, I can't read one of your comments, but I laughed. Bobby, go to the kitchen, Bobby. Pull Mikey Midnight, and he's gone. Man, what's up with people's internet today? Disgraceful. Tim from Fishland, save us.
Morning, Jake. Mr. Northern Jersey sure showing his politics. Tell him to go to a political show, please. Get that bullshit off of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like remove everything else with Rodgers that people don't like because he's outspoken on political topics. Fine. Which really, I'm not going to get into it now. I don't have the patience to talk about it. But, like, evaluate him as a football player and how his teammates feel about him. How is he not their best option? That's what it comes down to.
Did you hear what Jermaine Johnson said he did for him after he got injured?
I did. Yeah, and you got Breece Hall on social media retweeting everything about bringing Rodgers back. I mean, the guys like him. I know that's tough for some people to believe. The thing is, but they like him.
So this is my thing with it. Okay, even with the offense, the problem with the offense was not him last year. It was him when he got injured. Yes, but that never should have happened had we been able to have a top 5 running game. If you can run the ball with an older quarterback, look at all the greats. Tom Brady, his last the year he won the championship with the Tampa Bay. Peyton Manning, John Elway, all of them went out. They had a really good defense, and they had a top 5 running game. Okay? The running, if you can run the ball on a consistent basis in the NFL, it slows down the rush. And the fact that they didn't have a plan, that was just malcontent with leaving Hackett as the damn offensive coordinator when they send the full 7 all-out blitzes at him. You know, they didn't have a plan for that. It's just it's ludicrous. You know what I mean? But if the team, I hope Aaron Glenn instills physicality in this team, not only on defense, but on offense too.
Agreed.
Because if you're going to have a 41-year-old, 42-year-old quarterback, you cannot ask him to go out there and win the game for you every game. Okay? You cannot ask him to throw 40, 50 times. That's bullshit. Sorry for cursing on your show. I know you're about that, but it's ridiculous that they think that the guy is 35 years old, 32 years old, something like that. He could carry the team now. He can't. Okay, that's fine. But he's still our best option. All right. And the fact that some Jet fans just can't see that is just bonkers to me. I think the last 10 games of the season, when he got healthy, and then he's coming off an Achilles, his first year removed from the Achilles surgery next year. Okay, he threw for like 18 touchdowns to 4 interceptions.
Yeah, like I've watched my whole life. The Jets usually stink at the quarterback spot, and while Rodgers is not perfect, he played more than well enough for the win more than 5 games. Like I don't expect
My old man.
Go ahead.
My old man is a year older than Joe Benigno. He went through the same things that Benigno, all the things that Benigno tells you. My old man's told me everything. Okay, and he said it. He's like, I want Rodgers back. Rodgers was not the problem. We lost 3 games because our field goal kicker can't hit a field goal. Okay, then how many games did we lose by 6 points or less? And why do you think we were in those games from the first place? Because of him. All right, like that's the only reason why we were that. We set a record. I think it was in the NFL. For losing, I think it was like 8 or 9 games by 6 points or less last year.
Yeah, I mean, they've led the NFL in blown fourth quarter leads, and they led and they blew the most fourth quarter leads in Jet franchise history. Like you have to have some talent to have the lead in the fourth quarter that many times and blow it. By the way, like they just need better coaching, man. That was the biggest issue a year ago.
Aaron Glenn's 2 biggest important hires is not only the offensive coordinator, in my opinion, but it's the run game offensive line coach.
Agreed. Because they should be able to run the ball and protect Rodgers in that element too. Like
exactly.
Rodgers will be more efficient if they had a running game and they could run play action. Rodgers is the greatest play action quarterback I've ever watched.
And RPOs, RPOs too. He's really good at RPOs too.
Like I just feel like their offense was so imbalanced because we thought that Breece Hall would be, we thought
Breece Hall was going to have 2,000 yards.
Yeah, and they
all-purpose yards. That's what we thought.
Yep.
So we need a right tackle on the offensive line. I ain't going to lie about that, but I think the offensive line for the most part solidified. Now I'd like to see a little bit of a better scheme, more of a man gap scheme, not the stupid zone scheme that they've been using for the last couple times. You got offensive linemen that all of them can pull, which is amazing. They can all pull. So if you can start running traps, counters, powers, you know what I mean? And off of that play action, you got Garrett Wilson and Devontae on the outside. Let go of Lazard, maybe take a flyer in the 3rd round on another receiver. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see where you're going to find that protection anywhere else,
100%. I just, look, at the end of the day, if Glenn wants him, I want him. Like that.
But the Jets need to understand something. They live in the Northeast. Okay. They have to have an identity up there. And the identity that they should always have up there, like Baltimore does, run and defense. Okay. Because you're going to be playing in crap weather.
Right.
That has to be the identity up there. So
sure, they have
and physicality.
Yeah, look, 100%. Sam, good call, man. I agree. They should be able to run the ball a lot better. They drafted only the Jets could draft 2 running backs. They both at times look pretty good. Had 4 fits of the offensive line that individually all graded out well, and then they couldn't run the ball. It's coaching, man. Keith Carter, not just a bad O-line coach, he's also the run game coordinator. I got breaking news.
Breaking sports news on the Jake Asman Show.
Bobby Midnight's back. Bobby, what happened? Oh, no. Bobby, what happened? He's gone. Bobby. Bob. Not there. Not there. Sad. Jason in Jerusalem next. What's up, Jason?
Hey, Jake. Somebody pointed out to me, and it's actually very sad. The Washington Redskins, the Washington football team, and the Washington Commanders have all made the playoffs more recently than the Jets.
Yeah, it's true.
Did you see Connie Carberg's repost on Twitter recently in the last half hour?
In the last half hour, I have not because I've been doing this, but I was texting with Connie last night for what it's worth.
She posted a reporter from New Orleans that said that the Saints had a strong chance of hiring Glenn, but Glenn requested that team consider moving on from Mickey Loomis, and he wanted to be part of the GM search.
Well, let's make sure it's a reputable reporter saying that before we run with it. I don't know. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, Mickey Loomis and Aaron Glenn, I thought I had a good relation. Maybe not. Let's see. This guy who tweeted is Timothy J. Jones, host of the State of Saints podcast on Bleacher Report. I got to be honest. I've never heard of the guy. I haven't seen anyone else report that, so I don't want to run with it yet. But that's interesting.
Yeah, but it also would make sense why he wants to be more part of the Jets search. Also makes sense why they're holding off on the press conference till Monday, possibly announcing both at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Like Aaron Glenn told people his dream job was the Jets. That's why he's a Jet over the Saints. You know?
No, I believe that, but it could be why not have the press conference today? Ben Johnson with Chicago the next day. Why are they waiting till Monday?
Well, because Aaron Glenn is currently trying to hire his staff. And you get more buzz if you do it on a Monday than burying it Thursday into a weekend Friday.
Right. I mean, obviously the Johnsons really don't care much about, how the press is and their perception of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think Monday makes more sense. And also, Glenn's going to have a role in the GM hire because he does come from a scouting personnel background. So they're going to give him that voice.
Right. A couple other points. First of all, the one difference you say about it, we said everything about Glenn, but the same thing you said about Saleh 4 years ago. I have a lot more faith in Glenn hiring a competent staff.
Right.
I mean, Keith Carter would never be on an Aaron Glenn staff.
No.
Especially after everything that they said about him in Tennessee. And
they're different guys. Anyone who says they're the same guy is not being fair to Aaron Glenn. It's the same type of hire from the standpoint of defense-minded, first-time coach, etc. But we can't just lump them all in together and say it won't work. I was against Aaron Glenn over an experienced candidate because I wanted an experienced candidate, not necessarily because he was a defensive guy. Like you prefer offense, but that to me wasn't my sticking point with why I wasn't all in on Glenn. Like of the first timers, Glenn is as good as any they were going to be able to get.
I hear that. I mean, I personally wanted one of the first timers. I preferred Glenn or McCown. And I've been saying that the whole time. Who's the bigger dumpster fire, Cowboys or Jacksonville?
Oof. I mean, the Cowboys end up hiring Brian Schottenheimer. That is wild. Like that's the best you like. Look, all love to Shotty. I got to briefly say hello to Shotty at the Combine last year, which was fun. But I mean, come on, Brian Schottenheimer in 2025 is an NFL head coach of the Cowboys for the first time. He didn't even call plays under McCarthy this past year.
Right, and they had an underperforming offense, which is why they got rid of McCarthy to have their OC promoted.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not Dion if it ends up being Shotty. It's not done yet, but there's one reporter saying he expects it to get done today. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Liam Cohen's burning Jacksonville and then the firing Falke. So they don't have a GM.
Brian
and they don't
Schottenheimer is the Cowboys coach, and then Robert Saleh is the Jet. It always comes back to the Jets somehow. It's amazing.
Watch Rex be his DC. That would be hilarious.
I hope so. I think Shotty should hire Rex as his DC. He interviewed for that job a few years ago, and they chose Mike Zimmer over Rex, which I think was a mistake.
If the Saints hire Mike Kafka, is that a hold my beer, or is that actually a good hire?
Here's my thing with Kafka. All these teams want to talk to him every year, and Dable stripped him of play calling duties And like he was on a Giants team that sucked this year. What am I missing with Mike Kafka that every team wants to talk to him every hiring cycle? I don't know. If the Saints hire Mike Kafka, that would be that would be more to me uninspiring, you could argue, than maybe even Schottenheimer or Saleh. I don't know. Mike Kafka does nothing for me.
And somewhere Arthur Smith's raising his hands and goes, "Why can't I get an extra shot?"
Honestly, I rather Arthur Smith than Kafka. I don't know. Either one, I don't understand the appeal.
Was it Nagy under Kafka or Kafka was under Nagy? They worked together, didn't they?
Nagy. Yeah, there probably was some crossover in Kansas City.
Yeah, so Kafka was the QB coach. And anyway, Jake, great shows. Looking forward to have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll tune in on Sunday, Monday.
Jason, appreciate you. Thank you for calling, man. I know the time difference is wild, but you've been calling in a lot, which is great. Jason in Jerusalem, does he have a chance to go on a run in March? I would lump Jason in with like the Kyle Clifton type caller that typically calls in, has their jet takes they want to get off. Wants to come in, keep it on the Jets, which you got to have here. For every Bobby Midnight telling us about his ass hair, or Cheats fan telling us about how he's headbutting people in the ghetto, or Beast Breaker telling us about whatever he's telling us about, or Lane Train running the Lane Train on us. You need your steak and potato callers, man. They're the foundation. And Jason's a phenomenal caller. Ladies and gentlemen, I teased breaking news before, and it failed miserably. If I get burnt again with this breaking news I'm about to tease, it might be the end of this guy ever being a part of the show. I don't know how else to say it. There's a big-time moment right now to see if it works.
Breaking sports news on the Jake Asman Show.
Bobby Midnight's back. Bobby!
Hey, okay. My computer went down like yours did yesterday, where you put Jay in the hole yesterday, remember? You blamed it on Jay.
I did.
Yeah, okay,
it was
so
Jake's fault. He got me fired up. I tried to
all
send him
right,
a hole,
so
and my computer exploded.
I didn't plan on it shutting down on me. I'm sorry.
Bobby, have you ever thought that maybe I'm just kidding? That it's clearly sarcasm?
I think you're kidding.
You take everything so literal, all right?
I know.
I can tell you I found $10 million on the street this morning, and you would actually believe me.
No, I don't believe that.
No, I did. I couldn't believe it.
No, I don't believe
No,
it.
But by the end of this call, I could convince you if I really wanted to, but I won't. Continue.
No, I'm sorry. I failed. I'm sorry.
Jake Quest wants to know, why are you screaming?
Jake Quest, what's mind your own business once in a while?
Jay writes, saying, Bobby, calm the F down.
Okay, Jay. Okay, I will.
Ralphie says, don't be so gullible, honey.
You're not my honey, Ralphie. I'll send you to the moon.
Gator writes in, Bobby has two speeds, mumbles and grumbles.
Oh, Gator got to put his mouth in my mouth.
Dave Brigger writes in, Bobby has the shortest fuse of any caller.
Okay, Dave. Okay, why don't you go bury another dead body? They were waiting for you to bury him. Go ahead.
Is Dave a body barrier?
Yeah, he's the mob. He's the mob.
Is that so? That now I understand what you're doing. That's a mob joke you're making. Dave Brigger's the Italian mob, Bobby. Is that what you're insinuating?
You ever see him come on my show with the glasses and hairstyle? Yep.
You think one punch Dave Brigger's in the mob? That's a strong accusation.
Yeah, well, he is in the mob. Trust me, I'll tell you that much.
You might be out of line with this one. Someone might hold you for this.
So who gives a flying freaking crap? I don't care. So,
wow. Bobby's spitting in the face of authority. 10 memberships or $50 super chat. We'll see you later, Bob. Jeez.
All right, I'll go now. Okay,
hold on. Before someone does it, why don't you apologize?
I'm not playing cash cow. I'm not paying.
Give me a moo. Moo.
I'm not playing cash cow. I'm not playing that game. I'm not that game anymore for you.
Bino wants to know, did you start at Burger King? No, not yet.
Do you hear when I got on? I'm waiting for it to come back.
Dave Brigger says, Bobby, you're an idiot.
Oh, Dave Brigger. Okay, well, you're done on my show. If you come on my show, don't come on my show.
Wow, you're banning Brigger? He's going to send the mob after you. Allegedly, Dave. Allegedly.
Yeah, okay. Well, have a great day, Jake. Enjoy your rest of the show.
Why do we have to end so sad, Bobby? Why don't we?
Dave Brigger's being a pain. I stick up for that idiot around B-Mac. I stick up for it, and then he turns back on me. So shut the hell up, Dave Brigger, you old fart.
Whoa. Brigger's a good
Okay.
guy.
Fuck that bullshit.
No, Bob, don't come after Brigger.
Oh, fuck that.
We like Dave. This is
I
crazy.
stick up for him all the time. Then he's putting shit up on the bull. I'm an idiot. Go kiss your ass, Dave. Okay.
Come on. No. Dave's a good guy. I think
Dave could kiss his
we're going to
ass.
regret what's happening here. Dave's a good guy.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Dave, can you call in? We got to make this right. Dave, are you
No,
around?
I stick up for that old dirtbag.
Dave just wrote it. Old dirtbag. Dave Brigger's a great guy. Stop calling him an old dirtbag. You're going to be sleeping with the fishes.
I don't give a shit.
Dave wrote in, you insulted me. Get real, Bobby.
Yeah, you are. You insult me too, dumbass, asshole, jackass.
No.
But I'm done with this. Dave
Bobby,
Brigger,
don't go. Let's talk through this. Don't just leave. You can't just leave. That's not a good thing for you. That's not good.
No, well, he comes on. I don't do anything. He calls me idiot. I stick up for him with B-Mac, what's his name, BB. I stick up for my friends. Now he's calling me idiot. Go fly a kite. Okay.
TB writes in, messing with Brigger was the beginning of B-Mac's downfall. It was all downhill for him after that. You got to be careful.
Yeah, if I fall out of the competition, I don't care. This is driving me nuts. I am not a cash cow. I don't care. I'm a bad guy. I can't trust me.
What do you mean? Why do you keep saying you're not a cash cow? What does that have anything to do with Dave Brigger?
Well, you got your cash cow in the back talking.
I don't know. You think Beast Breaker is my cash cow? Is that what you're joking?
Yeah.
I think Beast Breaker is just a caller. He gets sent to the hole like Allen did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You.
Charles Gorman's father writes in, Bobby Midnight just comes on here to cry like a baby. My son is way more mature than
Gorman's dad. Even Charles Gorman does not believe that idiot's Charles Gorman.
No, but then Charles, did you see the show yesterday? Eventually he realized that was Dennis.
That wasn't Dennis. No, that wasn't his dad.
3 siblings, Jay writes in, Bobby, relax, as my quarterback will say. See, Jay's even come around on Rodgers now. He's a Rodgers truther.
Oh, yeah, I like the Rodgers. I agree with that 100%.
By the way, that is Mr. Gorman, so I want to make that clear.
That isn't Mr. Gorman. Nope.
No, Jay just said it is. He just confirmed it.
No,
Where's
it's
Brigger?
not.
I want Dave Brigger and you to clear the air.
Yeah, you don't even know. You never met him, so it's not him. Only
That's Dennis. I spoke to him on the phone that one time with Charles and Nick.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
Ralphie says when you have jazz hands, it means you're angry.
Ralphie, you know you like to type a lot. Why don't you get your fat face in here and talk?
Whoa.
Ralphie?
I've met Ralphie in person. He is not fat.
Well, skinny ass, get in here and talk, then, if you like typing so much.
I do like your quick pivot from fat ass to skinny ass.
Okay, well, I didn't know what he looks like. He likes to type. I know that. He's chicken shit to come on.
We need Brigger.
Yeah, we need Brigger.
He writes in, my family's 100% legit. I'll take insults, but not that, Bobby.
Well, I don't. Thanks for letting me. I stick up for you all the time, you old fart, and you call me an idiot. Goodbye. I don't need to waste my breath on you.
I see. Curly says, hit the like button harder than B-Mac hits women. Whoa, Curly. B-Mac doesn't hit women.
That went over the line.
Well,
Curly.
come on. Gator wants to know, would you be mad if he sent you a 6L XL t-shirt?
Well, that could be my pajamas then.
Jay writes in, Bobby, relax. Just say thank you very much and move on. People will continue to attack if they see it triggers you. We've been telling you this for years, Bobby. You never listen.
Yeah, well, don't call me idiot, Dave Burger.
Whoa, holy crap. Bobby, I think we have a war now. Are you ready for this? Dave Brigger, you call me an old fart and you can't walk down the street.
Okay, let's go.
Wow. Strong take from Brigger. Georgie writes in, leave Bobby alone. I'll fight anyone, even Brigger's old fart.
Oh, Georgie, I love you. Thank you. That's a true friend right there.
Wow.
I don't even know him, but Dave Brigger's an old fart.
Charles's father writes in, Bobby Midnight, why did you call in exactly? I thought there was breaking news, but all I hear is you complaining.
Dennis Gorman is not Dennis Gorman, so I don't want to hear him.
Dave Briga writes in, it's all over with Bobby.
Good. It's all over with me. I don't care. Right? Cry me a river. Give me a break. Cry me a
Jay
river.
Quest says, Bobby, Dave Briga's a chat legend. You picked the wrong guy to mess with.
Well, he's not my chat legend, so I'm gone. Jake, you have a great afternoon.
If Dave Briga shows up and he tries to one-punch Dave Briga style your ass, are you concerned?
No, I don't care.
No.
He could bury me. I don't give a fuck.
Is
Just
he
shut the hell up and leave me alone. That's all I want to be left for.
Is Dave Briga allowed on your show? Or is he banned?
No. Nope.
Is he allowed in the chat?
Yeah, he could be in the chat. I'm not going to pay attention to his ass. His
Dave
old
Briga
ass.
writes in, Bobby, you're a fraud.
You're a fraud too, you old freaking
Whoa.
raisin.
You're using
You're
the BMAC insults on Briga, the nursing home, the age jokes. Be careful.
Yep. Well, I don't care. BMAC might have been got into something then, Dave Briga. What's on the what's on for the menu today? Oh man.
This is wild. Dave Briga, Bobby Midnight, a war I never thought I'd see.
I'm done with this old fart. Why don't you come in and talk to me, okay? Old fart, old fuddy dud.
He says Bobby is weak.
Come on in, let's talk, you old fart.
Dennis Gorman says you need to be more humble like my son.
Yeah, Sean, let's go fly a kite, okay?
Dave says, Bobby, you're a fool.
You're a fool too.
Wow, look who's come to your defense against Briga. Beastbreaker. Briga is a dog turd.
I know, isn't he? I agree. He's a big ass horse turd, a dog turd. Yeah, I agree with you, Beastbreaker.
Love bites. Briga's about to find out the Oscar the Grouch way.
Love bites.
25. Charles catching strays from Bobby now.
Charles, what? What?
Charles catching strays from Bobby now.
I don't understand that one. What does that mean, 25?
Means you took a shot at Charles.
That wasn't even Charles Gorman's father.
It was his dad.
No. The only person who knows is Nick and Addison. Nick Shine went to their house. So that ain't Charles.
Beastbreaker says he's ready to welcome you into his mob.
Oh, that's nice. You're a nice guy.
Man, is there anything we could do to fix you and Dave Briga? I don't like seeing
Well,
you two fight.
I stick up for that old turd all the time, and then he calls me an idiot. Okay, so what? I don't need the old turd in my life. I really don't.
Briga now going up and in.
Prune. He's a dried old prune. What's on the diet today? Prunes for dinner?
Prunes for dinner. Bobby and Beastbreaker friendship. That's all that has to be said. 2 heads, 0 brains.
Oh, well, Dave Briga, we don't think you even have a brain. They didn't find anything when they took you to the doctor last time. They looked through your earlobes and ears and they didn't see anything coming out the other end, okay?
Wow. Dave, are you around to call in? We gotta get to the bottom of this, man. This is crazy. We do. I don't like seeing you two fight.
He's getting senile in his old age. He's probably retired right now in his nursing home in Florida.
Wow. Come on. Dave Briga doesn't need to be slandered like this.
Oh, well, he slandered me. It's all right for him to slander me then, right?
What did he say that was so bad?
He calls me an idiot. He calls me I'm bad. I'm sick of standing up for the old turd. Okay? I am done.
Bobby, stop it.
He's the old turd.
He's not an old turd. He's a great guy.
He smells like I do when I don't take a shower.
No, nobody smells worse than you. Be fair.
Well, I took a shower today, so I'm fine.
I still would rather smell Dave Briga than you.
Okay, good. Smell the old fart. I don't care. Okay, have a great day, Jake. You have a wonderful evening.
Come on. Hold on. Let's regroup here. No, stop. Wait. Man. Disappointing. A-View, Super Chat. Don't bring Beastbreaker back. He needs a 5-day suspension for the chicken comment. The refs have a flag. Beastbreaker. What did he say about chicken? See, I gotta go back and watch the call. I know he talked about hot sauce and then putting it on chicken. Jay says, I'm Ted Yu. You bet your ass I am. I'm the dean of Ted U. Ladies and gentlemen, one last call. He's kind of become the closer of this show lately. Ladies and gentlemen, he will once again be the Mariano Rivera. Before we're back with Matt O'Leary today at 4:30.
It's G-Fan.
Guess what? I'm still looking for a job, bitches.
It's G-Fan.
I'm just going to rub my hands together all day.
It's G-Fan.
There's a whole lot of DNA on this couch.
Let's hear it for G-Fan.
Look, it's my dead neighbor that I didn't kill. Amazing, Gator. Amazing as always. I woke up early, got some things done this morning.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to the phone store because my phone wanted to update, and it's constantly not updating, so I just factory reset it, and it's not updating, so I might go back to Cricket because Verizon screwed me over. I spent $300 on this phone, so I went there when they opened at 7 this morning, so I've been up early. So when I got home about a few hours ago, I decided to just take a shower and take a nap. That's why I look like shit right now at the moment.
I think you look pretty good.
Oh, I mean hair-wise.
I think the hair looks good.
What's
your take on Dave Briga versus Bobby Midnight that just happened?
That's not my beef. I'm not gonna beef with anyone else.
Would you say that they should get on the same page though, and not be?
They need a mediator, and like
I tried to do it. Dave didn't call in. I wanted to mediate the issue.
I just hate when people beef on this show. I'm like, we're supposed to be a family.
Dave writes in, Bobby Midnight makes fraudulent statements about my family and expects no repercussions. I don't need them.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I guess there's no mediating that then.
Dennis Gorman checks in. Shout out to Chiefs fan for not getting involved in other people's beef, unlike Bobby Midnight.
Well, I learned that when I was younger. Got my ass kicked for trying to defend someone when I found out, didn't know what they did. And ever since that ass kicking at the age of 13, it's in the back of my brain. Shut the hell up. It's not your problem.
I see.
So, yeah. I'm really hoping that you guys get a good OC.
Do you want to lend us Andy Reid?
Nah. You can have Matt Nagy.
If we're good on that one.
Yeah, well, everyone's good on that one. Actually, you know what? You can have Arthur Smith too. Smile. I'm just hoping you guys get a good OC. There's so many skits about Ben Johnson leaving the Lions.
Real quick, Mimosa, if you're still watching, I received a notice that the full-size helmet you won in the raffle has just arrived at your home.
Nice.
So shout out to Mimosa. Continue, Chiefs fan.
Speaking of raffles, I'm working on selling some statues, and I wanted to do something nice for the community.
Chiefs fan, gift the membership. You know what? I'm going to gift the membership right now, but it's going to be your entry in the raffle. All right?
Okay. Thank you.
Right,
I'm thinking about like I got a blue eye statue, a dark magician statue, and a red eye statue, all sealed at my friend's giant fireproof safe. I'm thinking if I can offload those at the March Comic-Con I'm going to.
I see.
Put some money towards the stream so people can have Jets gear or Asmaniac gear during springtime. So the flip-flops would be nice, the t-shirts would be nice. I'm thinking about doing that since everyone's been nice and looking out for me over the last year since I've been here. So maybe longer. If those statues sell, I'm trying to put like $100 to $125 into your pocket, and then you could raffle off stuff off of the, raffle off a hoodie if it's too cold, raffle off some flip-flops for the beach or something like that.
Chiefs fan, I just gifted one membership. I think I'm only the second person to do it this entire nearly 3-hour show. So I'm thrilled for you. And the listener who received the membership is Nate. But not Nate parentheses Nate, I don't believe. A different Nate. So Chiefs fan, that entry is going to go to you. So if you win, all right, they're all Jet prizes, but you know, you're an honorary Jet fan.
Actually, if I win, can we hook Connor up with something? Because I know if you want to do it for Connor.
Sure.
That's what that's my next statement is. I'm like, he's young. He would love to have that. He could show it off during the shows. So if I win something, they can just go to Connor so he can have something to put in the background when he does the shows at home. Because he's young, he's up and coming. That one little thing, he might say he wins that jersey. That one little jersey might go from 5 views to 100 views in a show.
That's very nice of you. Very well done, Cheats fan. Now, Cheats fan, you've yet to provide a Venmo, PayPal. I tried to send you.
Okay, so so PayPal will be active as in PayPal will be active as in tomorrow. I just got contact with the consultant that helped me get my old PayPal account back.
Yeah, I want to buy your pizza for the weekend or whatever else. I want to pick up the tab and a couple meals for you.
I'll do that. Thank you for that.
Of course.
That's the other reason why I want to do something for the show. I'll actually hold on. Let me email. Okay, that's not done.
Hold on, real quick. Dave Brigger writes in, Bobby the Blowhard never says things about me or my family. He called me an Undertaker. Goof.
I was raised, sorry if this is an insult to you, David, but this is what we call them in the hood. I was raised to respect the old heads. That's what we call them in the hood. Like, they would tell you stories, especially the Vietnam War vets and the Korea War vets. Especially, there was a few black people from the World War II days when they were discriminated against. And I would just sit there and listen to the stories with all the young people around. And you learn a lot from, he kind of turning it kind of is them. You learn a lot from the old heads, the old people.
I love the olds.
Like, you could sit down and ask them about like a certain year in sports, and they'll just sit there and talk to you for hours and hours on end, and you'll just sit there and be quiet. And then there's another story. You could just sit down. They could tell you 16 hours worth of stories if they remember that much. That's why you got to respect the older generation. Now, there's certain old generations that are like hateful and rude.
Mm-hmm.
We toss those ones away. But the ones who are nice and willing to like teach the youth, you're good.
I see. Well, I'm going to bring on someone right now who I believe is, he's not old. You can't call him an old head, but I believe his spirit is that of an older one. All right.
Sure,
He's an older spirit. Are you ready?
Go ahead. Sure.
It is time for Charles Gorman.
You'll never get my chicken soup recipe. I'm not saying that Glowski takes steroids. I need some of it. Hey, Charles! Who is that lovely lady? Send it this way, Charles!
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hey, Charles, your dad's been commenting away today. Good to have you on the show.
I don't think that's really my dad. My dad just got in the shower, I think.
No, he's watching the show from the shower. He just commented, "That's my boy."
Waterproof phones are thing.
Anyway,
can you lift
my
the camera
dad's very
up a little bit?
supportive of the hire.
It's up to see you.
My dad is very supportive of the hire.
Hold
He's
on,
happy, Bill.
He says he's using his show in the shower. Using his phone in the shower, excuse me.
I think this is a troll account that's using my father's name.
I don't think so.
Anyway, my dad's very happy with the hiring. He also heard that Bill Parcells is happy with the hiring too. I know he said the same thing about Todd Bowles, but I think this time is different. Aaron Glenn learned from Parcells. He learned from Sean Payton. He learned from Dan Campbell. And I got no comment on that, Jay Quest, so I can't answer that.
Do you think Bobby and Dave Brigger should work out their differences?
You know who I think should work out their differences? Beast Breaker and Big Fella.
I can't see you. There you go, Charles. Thank you.
I think Beast Breaker and Big Fella need to stop using derogatory language at one another. They need to stop using homophobic language at one another. and I think they need to get along. Hell, I think a lot of people need to give Beastbreaker a little bit of a break. And he just chatted me in the chat that it's not going to happen. But yeah, it is what it is.
Tom Ace wants to know if I could ask you why you haven't simply asked Dennis if he has a YouTube account to confirm if it's a troll or not.
Why have I asked my father?
Yeah.
Because I don't think YouTube is... That's a good question.
We believe it's him.
What
was that?
Nothing.
Dennis Gorman writes in, Charles, you asked for this. You didn't want to introduce me to Jake, so I had to come on here myself. I almost feel like you're embarrassed of me for not introducing me to your friends.
I think this guy's a troll. I think he's trying to masquerade as my father.
I don't know. He seems like he knows your life story pretty well. I think it's him.
There's a lot of people that went by Dennis Gorman. It's not.
He just wrote, "It's actually me."
Let me go check.
Dennis says, Charles, if I'm a troll, yell my name at the top of your lungs and ask me to come on camera.
I'm not going to call you Dennis Gorman because that's disrespectful.
What do you call your dad? Father or dad?
Dad?
Great idea from Matthew. He says, ask him a question only your father would know. Do you call him Big Papi ever?
No.
There's not one question you can come up with that your dad would only know? Mike says, give him your social security number and see if he can verify it.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not an idiot.
Oscar says, Charles is befuddled right now. South Philly. Charles, hold on. South Philly says, Charles seems off. Are you off today, Charles?
No. Look, there's a lot of people that have used the name Dennis Gorman over the years. And the only one I know is my father.
Matt says, easy on the keyboard. Dennis Gorman says, I'll come on here next time with a picture of my face so you know it's really me.
I don't believe it.
Nick Shine chimes in. He says, just watch the Bobby meltdown. Yes, plural. 15-minute call. 1,000 emotions. 1 million insults. 0 plugs of his channel. Great usage of time, Bobby. Thanks for watching, Nick. Appreciate it. What are your thoughts on Briga versus Midnight? Nick Shine, any takes on that?
I'm sorry, what? What do I think of Nick Shine? He's a good guy.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was busy looking up the Dennis Gorman YouTube account. What's up?
Did you actually type in Dennis Gorman YouTube?
Yes.
I see.
What did you ask? I'm sorry.
I was asking Nick Shine for his opinion on Bobby Midnight versus Dave Briga, and Nick Shine wrote in that he's Team Briga.
That's interesting.
It is. Well, Charles, I'll tell you what. You talk to your father and you report back, all right?
All right, I will.
Thank you, Charles. And then I want you to know something as well. The mustache looks great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm going to talk about Spider-Man and movies and sports and video games and maybe hot chicks.
What a show, huh? We're back in a few hours with Matt O'Leary. If you want to be like Joe Benigno and buy merch items from jakeasman.com, do so. 20% off for Patreon users. Hey, huge shout out to our most recent Patreon users, Gangrene Goliath, Bill M, and Will 2012 for joining. Thank you again to everyone who supports the show. You guys were awesome. Benigno came on with us for an hour. Maybe the funniest appearance yet from Joe. Some classic stories he told. So I want to thank everyone who tunes into that. Callers were great today. Appreciate all of you. We're back in 2.5 hours. So big guest, Matt O'Leary, latest on the GM search, all that and more. I'll talk to you guys then. Jets, Jets, baby. Yeah.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.